Boy. So wait a minute. Okay. Okay, so we should be going on all. I'm just getting everything set up. Yep, there it is. Okay, I was overthinking it. Everything should have been done from StreamYard. All right. So we're live, ready to go. Oh, this is gonna be crazy. Okay, so we're here. Remember, I got 30 seconds to do what I need to do. That is mute that. Okay. There we go. That's what I want to be because I want to have my stuff up. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and go. We are ready. 2 minutes. Okay. Hey, what's up, folks? This is your boy DJ81 coming to you with another episode of What the Fuck Just Happened, episode 14. Now, I'm hoping everybody can hear everything. Hopefully, that everybody that's viewing this either on Twitch or Twitter is all ready to go. So I figured I was going to try something, and so far I got crossed up at the beginning, but when you're trying to, yeah, that countdown was wild. Yeah, they have a built-in countdown that you can put in there, and it's funny because I actually practiced the whole coordinating the countdown with the muting and the music, and then obviously I had my mic on mute. So within that 30 seconds, just quickly setting up so that when it was done, you just saw me. So no more corny, open the lid, anything. I'm just going to do this because I think this is better. And also I'm doing this through OBS virtual camera. So I could still have shit going on like this. So I'm slowly getting a handle on it. Obviously, whenever you do anything first, there's always excitement about how it's going to go. There's always going to be a hiccup. VF learned that lesson yesterday, forgot where he was, thought he was still on YouTube. And I think with me, it was more or less, I'm safe where I know where I'm at. It was just a process of controlling everything and making sure everything went right. I was really nervous making sure, because I practiced this, and the thing I got crossed up on is that I hit start streaming on the OBS when I don't have to do that. So that's my hiccup. That's my L for the night for episode 14. So let's take care of the pleasantries. So you can follow me on Twitter. For those that are on YouTube, you can follow me as I make an audible there. Those of you that are viewing through YouTube, and also those that are viewing through, well, it's actually reversed. So the Twitch crowd can follow me at YouTube. The YouTube crowd can follow me here on Twitch. At least I hopped over that hurdle. Good grief. And yeah. Oh, also one other thing. Make sure you guys tune in to First and Frame Rates. That goes live every Tuesday and Thursday. Yes, you are reading that correctly. It says 7:45 ish, because sometimes we go at 7:45, sometimes we go at 8 o'clock. So we used to go at 7:30, but stuff happens. So we just try to be as flexible as possible as far as the scheduling of the show is. And you can find that show over on VF Baller's channel. I'll create a banner eventually. I just wanted to get the basics out the way for this show. So, and it's funny because the basics were last episode, in episode 13, but this is a new basic with the multi-streaming. So, and I do want to give a special shout out to Doug Thomas, who's also known as Villain in Black. Buddy, it helped. And I appreciate the donation that you gave after the show last week, because it definitely, I'm like, honestly, you didn't have to, but it gave me motivation to upgrade the StreamYard so I can multi-stream and really just keep it at this level. So thank you for giving me that push, because that's what your donation was. It was a push, because I really wanted to I wanted to keep it free, but also had ideas of multi-streaming. So and for anybody else that you don't have to, I'm gonna just flash that down there as you move along. So why are we here? And just to let you know, I will be having a guest tonight. That's why I have the full screen set up, because we're gonna have a guest. You'll find out who it is. You'll like him. I hope so. It's like, I'm just kidding. Y'all already do like him. It's Bills. He'll be in later. I told him to take his time. I'll send him the invite as soon as he's ready to go. And so a question again, why are we here? We are here because we have topics to talk about. What show would be a show without topics? Let me just get my drink real quick, because that's another thing I forgot to do. It's called sponsorship, advertisement, product placement. Go to rogueenergy.com. You want 10% off, just put in DJ81 and tell them I sent you. And they have many great flavors to choose from. And yeah. So why are we here? Hey, what's up, Antonio? I see you. You're here. There you go. What's up, Antonio? Glad you made it. And just to show this comment earlier, Bills was definitely impressed with the countdown. So we definitely had the countdown going. So why are we here? As I asked for the third time or fourth time. Primary issue is this right here. Now, I paraphrase basically a whole interview. That is basically the whole interview is this right here. Let me minimize this because I don't need that in the way. And before we move on to not move on to the next topic, before I summarize the next topic, tell me if you guys are hearing the music in the background, because last week I meant to have music playing in the background and I had the wrong setup. So I believe I corrected it. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll see. So we'll be talking about Ninja. Definitely be talking about John Wall, because Bills will tell you I was livid after we went off the air. we were having a conversation about the MLB Hall of Fame, and I I had tuned out the whole conversation, and I'm sure it was about the fact that they didn't select anybody this year, which is weird. They have people to put in, but that's a different story. But I had tuned out that whole because I was incensed over what I witnessed after the Wizards Rockets game. So I'll be talking about that. And then I threw this in at the last second, and it's definitely on everybody's radar. Gamestop. So stocks are rising. GameStop's not the only one. Apparently, somebody's coming back from the dead. And it's a place I used to work at in the past. So we'll definitely talk about that. So let me see if Bills is ready. Matter of fact, let me send him the invite. And thank God. Again, thank you, Doug Thomas, for the donation because I can do shit like this. So he should be. And then as soon as I see him, I'll let him into the chat. So let's talk with you guys. Anybody who's out there watching, how are you guys doing this evening? I know I've done a lot of talking, haven't really asked what's been going on with you guys. And just trying to figure out what games are everybody playing? What sports are you guys watching? What's been keeping you busy starting off in 2021? Because 2021 has started off, almost the same way as 2020 is concerned. I know yesterday was the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death, and everybody chimed in from celebrities to even us over at First and Frame Rates. We all had something to say about the anniversary of the death and everything that happened afterwards. Like I said yesterday, I felt like it was the year in hell because you had Kobe Bryant's death, you had you had an impeachment, then you had the pandemic, then you had George Floyd, then you had Breonna Taylor, then you had the election, then you had like government officials under threats of assassination before the election even went off. Then you had the mail-in situation, then Trump's being a bitch about the election results because he is under the impression that election day is the deadline when in fact it's never been the deadline. It's just the pseudo deadline because that's when we, under a normal circumstance, that's when the election would be decided. When he won in 2016, Hillary Clinton called him within, I think, an hour or so and conceded. So, and it was clear he was going to win at that point. So that's why it's kind of funny that he did what he did, which his bitching and complaining led to January 6th, where a bunch of his supporters who at first were peacefully protesting, and some say it was planned that eventually it was going to turn violent. And the fact that I look at it like this, I'll follow this analogy. That crowd was a stick of dynamite, and Trump and other people that got up there at that stage ignited the fuse. He gave them marching orders, so that's that. So we had a near mutiny of people storming the Capitol, and now they're getting rounded up like cattle, and it's glorious. It is so funny. People crying like I'm on a no-fly list all of a sudden. Not me. I'm just paraphrasing the people that are being caught up in this dragnet. But then at the same time, with all that going on, people's civil liberties have been taken away. So we have to be aware that just because you're getting rid of one side of the argument doesn't mean you're not violating their civil liberties. So we have to be aware of that. We have big tech involved in censorship, and it's not pretty at all. So let me see. Yeah, he hasn't come in yet. I'm just trying to hold all time because I definitely want his opinion on some of these topics. And um, I don't think we. I think we talked about wall lap. No, we. It was after we went live. So I figured. Oh, and I think I told you guys I beat Hitman 3. I beat Hitman 3, and I don't care what any of these YouTubers and influencers and content creators are saying about the game. Like they're I'm seeing both sides on the timeline, and I feel like Hitman 3 was a great game. I felt like it was a great game. It told a great story from start to finish. And it's not just Hitman 3 that did that. Hitman 2 did that. Hitman 1 did that. Now, what I plan to do, since Hitman 3, you're able to um, you're able to play through the whole story in one game, which is another caveat of the last two Hitmans. The fact that you've been able to play the previous Hitman, now Hitman 3, you can play all of them in one game. And with the control scheme, with some of the gameplay elements that are in Hitman 3 that have been added on, you can go back to Hitman 1 and start fresh. You can do the whole Agent 47 story in one game for $60. That's worth it. But then we had this ongoing dispute about the $70 price tag, in which on First and Frame Rate we did talk about before. So let me take this time and also give a shout out to my little sister. Her birthday is today. And let me see, if I remember correctly, she is 28 years old. She's approaching 30. She's 28 years old. She was born on the day the Washington Redskins at the time won the Super Bowl, where they clobbered the Buffalo Bills. So, well, she's 28, 29, because she was, I keep thinking she was born in 92, but I think it's 91. But she was born on the same day. And also my aunt, whose birthday is today as well. They shared a birthday. I actually watched them one time. There we go. I actually watched them one time play fight over the fact who's going to be the one to have the dominant birthday. Like, even though obviously my aunt was here first, but obviously my sister's more dominant when it comes to. So appreciate that, Antonio. So waiting for Bills to get here. I've been talking for this long, trying to, let's see. You didn't get it in your I sent it to your Facebook Messenger. Hey, what's up? What's up, Villain in Black? Hey, again, thanks. Thanks for the donation. You definitely influenced what this live stream is doing today. So, well, it's desktop. I'm not. Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me do that then. Hold on. See, I was trying to be slick, but I guess not. Okay, Cloppy. Cloppy. All right, so let me do that. Where is it? There it is. And with that being said, and oh, thank you. I appreciate that. No problem. Villain in Black says, no problem. You earned it. So, like, again, I definitely appreciate that. All right. So, going to have Bills in a second. We're going to have him do his intro once he gets in. And then we may have a couple more guests for all we know, because the way this is going to pan out, 2 more people could possibly drop in besides Bills, because I sent it to the main one for our show. So you guys can pretty much figure out who the 2 other people could get in there. And just to let you guys know, I can get up to 10 people in here. And then that's when I'm gonna have to play referee. I'm be trying to moderate the whole thing, and it says the device is not connected. All right, so there you go. Let's see if I can hear you. Say something, Bills. I don't think I can hear you. Hold up. Huh. How come I can't hear him? Hold up. It may be something on my end. Again, let me see if let's see. Audio. Okay, speak again. Okay, I may have something wrong in here because I can't hear him. So this is obviously this is everything a work in progress. For some reason I can't hear him. Okay, let me. Or hold up. I don't think that did anything. I just shrank everything down. Oh, that's not okay. Let me see. Mute mic, unmute. Oh, it won't let me. You can't. Oh, your mic isn't connected. Okay.
I just hear me now.
Okay, I can hear you low. Hold on. I know what I gotta do. Hold up. Turn down the gain there, and then I gotta turn down something on my end. Okay, go ahead and say something. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. I don't know. I heard you for a split second. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Hold up. I may have to switch back. Uh, okay. All right, try it now. Ah, man, this is crazy. So we're gonna spend a try to let's see. Okay, I hear a tap.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on. Now I'm just wondering if anybody else can, because let's see. Hold up.
Cause I heard myself on the stream that one time, but then
Okay.
I turned the stream off because I thought we had it figured out. But whatever.
Okay. So anybody who's still in the chat, let me know if Bill's audio is because I can hear him fine now, but let me know if his audio is good to your ears. Because again, I can hear him just fine, but I know I adjusted the volume. I can kind of hear him. Okay, hold on. Let me see something. I may have to turn the game. Bills, you don't have to do anything. You're fine on my end. I think it's. Let's see. You know what? I may have to just let me cut the music because sometimes the music can get in the way if it's interfering. Okay, this might definitely let me know what's going on. And let me see, because I don't know what to do as far as the volume control. I've had to get this worked out. You know what? Next time, what we'll do is do a trial run because I can hear you just fine, but they can barely hear you.
Right.
Okay. So, but what we're gonna do?
I mean, I really don't want to touch my mic settings. Hold on.
Okay. Because if you have the ability to increase your volume, then they'll be able to increase your gain. Then okay, he said he can hear you now.
Oh, he says you can hear me now.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So now that we got that out the way, so Bills, introduce yourself. Tell these folks who you are. Tell the one or whatever person that's watching who you are.
So I am Bill's fourth. I've been in these YouTube streets since I'd say 2014, and don't really make videos anymore. I'm a musician now, so kind of moved on from that aspect. I stream every now and then, but trying to figure out a streaming schedule to mix in with my music schedule. But yeah, that's pretty much who I am. You can follow me on Instagram at Grand Music, GRAND Music, MUSIC. You can also follow my sports page, Grand Sports Talk. That's GRAND Sports Talk. And yeah, that's pretty much where I reside on social media. Obviously, Twitter at JBMJ. I think a lot of people that listen to this show follow me already, so that's dope. Um, yeah, that's pretty much my intro.
So, like I was saying earlier, I was telling these folks, Bills, that when we was having a conversation about the MLB Hall of Fame, uh, and like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I had told you, I apologize, I had tuned out, but you knew what the reason was because I was incensed about this whole situation with John Wall and the Wizards, and obviously we're going to go to that. And let me just click on the banner so everybody's following along.
Right.
So I sat there while Bills and VF well, all of us were supposed to be having this conversation, but I was the one who tuned out because I was incensed over the fact that, seeing Bradley Beal kind of break down on the bench as the game was running out, and then the handshake between the two, like they're still teammates, uh, still very much close off the court, and just seeing like Westbrook and Wall kind of jaw at it as the game was winding down, and then the comment that led to this phrase that's down below, pretty much stating the fact that that organization thought I was done. And
Right.
Bill's as a witness, he'll tell you that I sat there. I don't know if he could see my eyes watering up, but I was about to water up because I was sitting there, I was frozen. Like,
I know you were heated. I know you were completely and utterly just done with the entire situation.
so it was one of those things where it was just like, I can't, I'm like, because we called it. We talked about this on the First and Frame Rate show. We talked about the fact that what was the point of making this trade? You've coined it as a lateral move, and
Mm-hmm.
I coined it as you're breaking chemistry, and for what?
Yep.
So, but share your thoughts as far as this is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Westbrook is averaging his customary triple double, but he's shooting 30% from the 3 point line, 37% from the field, which is just atrocious, and 62% from the free throw line. And they're 3-9. They're 1-8 in games that he's played. So, you look at Houston and they're getting John Wall off of that minutes restriction slowly but surely. They're starting to come into their own as a basketball team. You got Oladipo that was just traded there. You got Cousins who's playing really well. And it's like, it's like we said um, before either team played a game with their new guys. We said it's either going to be a lateral move or Houston's going to win the trade. And right now, they clearly won the trade. So,
Yes. So it's one of those things where I was talking about the chemistry aspect of it. Why would you break chemistry? Even though, yes, you're getting the same type of player. Bills, you mentioned this off stream, was that you pretty much have a more polished finisher in Wall. But again, I'm coming from the angle of the chemistry. You don't break that. And the part that I was infuriated over was the fact that for months and years, local media and the fan base tried to break these two up. Like, talk, put out stories. I bet you people got promotions based, and this is all a familiar tune in DC as far as the media is concerned. As far as people getting their come ups, Diana Rossini got her come up off of RG3. And even before with the Wizards, fans calling for Randy Whitman's job because he did a poor job of acclimating the offense to look like the Golden State Warriors, which you can't. And we talked about this, where you can't mimic the Warriors and not have the same type of shooters accurate as they were on your team. And Randy Whitman converted a team that had Marcin Gortat and Nene as at the 5 and 4. And it's like, now you want them to shoot threes because the fans are mad because we're not scoring 120 points per game. And then we look at this situation where now fans, they're calling for Scott Brooks' job, and I'm one of them now. But the thing is that I feel like it is the management that is to blame, because they're asking him to keep up with the scoring of the offensive points when we both know he is a specialist as far as defense is concerned. But if management is not letting him focus on defense, then I think that's a structural issue. So that's where I find myself frustrated.
It's a really weird situation, and we did talk about this a couple hours ago, where I've never seen a guy that won an MVP have such a quick decline in play and be traded twice in 2 years, which is possible now because we talked about this, right? I mean, if that happens, that is not a good look for Russell Westbrook, because it kind of becomes a James Harden thing. It's like, okay, well, didn't work with Kevin Durant. Okay, it didn't work with Paul George. All right. Didn't work with Harden. Now you're with Beal. It's not working here. And you said you were happy. So I think that's the real issue here is, like you said, you're breaking chemistry unnecessarily. At the very best you can get out of this is a lateral move, which means Russell Westbrook is on the same level as John Wall when he played in Washington. And you're not getting that. All right. So you automatically lose the trade if you're not getting that. Then the slap in the face is John Wall's on the other side with a chip on his shoulder. He has two other guys, right? Indiana felt the same way about Victor Oladipo. They felt like he wasn't going to come back to full health anytime soon. That's why they got rid of him. DeMarcus Cousins, the Lakers had no reason to retain him in their minds. So he has a chip on his shoulder. Got guys on that squad with a chip on his shoulder that prove. Meanwhile, Russell Westbrook is still subconsciously and passive-aggressively fighting over who is the man on the Washington Wizards. And that's the bed that the management made, and they're gonna have to sleep in it. It's unfortunate for the fans, but it's crazy.
All right. So now we had a visit from an old friend. Neff, I'm gonna just flash his up again.
I see.
Say what up, man, in words. Yeah, I saw a little bit of your rant earlier. This man was going off. I didn't stay for the whole thing, so I didn't know what it was all about, but it was something. I'm like, he was like, motherfuck this, nigga that, blah 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 blah. Why do I have to be PC? I'm doing my own shit. Was that is that summarizing what you were talking about? Because if that did, I got the message in only like maybe 5 minutes of viewing. So somebody came to him and was like, if you did this, then you would get more views. And he was like, fuck that. I don't care. I'm doing my own shit. So
right.
And then Villain in Black, Doug Thomas, highlighted earlier about 62% from the free throw line. Yeah, that for a guard, that's like he would fit right in at Georgetown, the old Georgetown, when they used to have free throw shooting problems, and teams, they would know if they were in a close game with Georgetown, just foul them. Like you get them in the free throw line, they'll brick like half those shots. So
and
they're confirming.
On top of that,
wait a minute, Bill. You also got now you're a pimp now. You got her pimping.
Keep these hoes in line, bro.
Yeah. Backhand storm, right?
So here's the worst part of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's shooting 61, right? They rounded up, right? It's 61.7. They rounded up, 62%. But I'm looking, he's getting less free throw attempts, and he's taking 4 threes a game, which is interesting because last year he took 3.7 on a team that takes more threes. So something is wrong here. And this goes to it, right? I don't watch the Wizards on a nightly basis, but this is what I think it is. Teams are starting to give him that shot, and he's taking it, and he shouldn't take it. But we discussed this before because I said, what happens, right? He doesn't take it. He forces something. He passes it to a guy that's probably going to be contested, or they get a 24-second shot clock violation. It's all where he's placed on the court. And that's the issue. He doesn't fit that team. He doesn't. He doesn't. It's that simple. He doesn't fit that team. And there's a lot of teams he doesn't fit. But it's more egregious in Washington because they have such a lack of talent overall there.
Yeah, and what I was also being mindful of, the current situation, a lot of their core players are still not in yet. Like they were there a little bit, and it was kind of gelling, but then that whole COVID-19 hit that team hard, and they missed 5-6 games that they had to postpone. I don't know how they're going to make them up. They're going to make them up somewhere down the line because they got to get 72 games out of these teams. And I want to see how this team responds when those guys come back. Like, because they were already having problems playing defense before. But the thing was, there were questions about Isak Bonga. There were not problems. It was issues because Scotty Brooks was doing a poor job in managing minutes. Like one night it was Bonga, not Brown. Then it was Brown, not Bonga. Then it was Neto versus Ish Smith as far as minutes. And Scotty Brooks with the dumbest quote of all time. Oh, his rotation minutes didn't come up. No. I know substitution management. When it comes to playing video games and applying it to real life, I'm the first one that will dig into how you sub, when you sub, what do you go by. And I know just their analytics, everybody's like, oh, well, this person, the matchups don't fit or whatnot. Sometimes you have to go with who's high.
Right.
And in that game in question, Nato was high. You keep
Mm.
him in there despite the fact that he's a matchup mismatch, a liability on your end because he's hot on the other end. That may cause that mismatch to be neutralized. So
Here's here's another thing that's alarming is the fact that Scott Brooks coached Russell Westbrook early in his career.
mhm.
And if he can't get through to Russell Westbrook to get him to play better, nobody can. So, I'm looking at Bill's stats here. He's averaging 4 more points per game than last year. Obviously, it's early in the season, but still.
He's about to average 40 points a game. This is gonna be
He's
ridiculous.
averaged,
This is like beyond
right.
Michael Jordan's stats.
He's averaging a board more. He's taking 2 less threes this year.
Yeah, I'm glad he's found that mid-range game again. Cause I was wondering when he was going to, because he came out as a shooter.
But even averaging 6 threes per game, he's still shooting 35% from the field, but 48% overall, which means his mid-range game is really working.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of people just look at stats and they don't really know how to decipher certain shit. But if you look at the stat sheet, you can kind of tell he's just elevated his game and gotten back to what he was doing when Wall was there in that pick and roll, 2 dribble pull-ups, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell Westbrook needs to play more off ball. He just does. He needs to play more off ball, get easy baskets at the rim from, cutting and things of that nature. It's funny because if you watch the All-Star game, which is one of the most useless games of the year, or probably the most useless game of the year,
Which they're going to force on us this year.
which they're going to force on us, right? If you watch that game, Russell Westbrook plays off ball, scores like 10 points every All-Star game just off of cutting off the ball. If he did that during the regular season, his points would be a lot easier. So, and in the meantime, he can get in the gym and work on his 3 ball. And by the time they lose, by the time he loses his athleticism, he'll be able to spot up and, shoot a little bit better and be reliable and have some use in the league past his 30s. Not 30s, but the early 30s. So, I don't know. Overall, it's a shitty situation.
All right, so Neff in the chat again says I would have a podcast, but there's no 1 minute delay for YouTube. If you do it through StreamYard, you actually can set up everything before you even hit live. And I actually overthought it a bit when I actually on my OBS because I'm using my OBS to do the virtual camera setup, so I can keep like the back. I kind of demonstrated that earlier, but um, you can set everything up, banners, stuff like that, stuff that you see that's floating. The little donation thing at the bottom of the scrolling across the bottom of the screen. But you and then all you gotta do is hit live. It'll automatically start up. And I overthought it. I hit start stream on my OBS when really all I had to do was do it on StreamYard. So it's just a lesson learned. But it's something that maybe you want to get into. Do it for free. Do the free portion. And just set the destination to YouTube, and then think he's talking about my chair. Says, "Hey DJ, the chair was nice in the new Neff cave," and we're just saying. And then what else he's saying? I would get impeached. Oops, did I say that out loud? Oh, we went through the whole. Well, we didn't go through impeach. We talked about inauguration and how we played off of that. But yeah, just overall, it's just it's not even strange. It's just a sad situation in Washington that you could ruin it just by. And it's funny because I think also the media is putting it out there that John Wall wanted to leave, but I'm like, it was no longer his team, so he wanted out of this situation. Now, at this point, the same media was perpetuating this whole Beal versus Wall thing. How am I to believe that you're reporting on him wanting to leave the situation is true?
Right.
It doesn't make any it doesn't make any sense.
It's It's similar to when Kyrie left and everybody made it seem like Kyrie had a personal gripe against LeBron, but really what it was he literally just wanted to be the leader on a team, right? I mean, there was this imaginary beef between LeBron and Kyrie for like half a year. And then, you know, the first time they play, they dap each other up, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, why are they dapping each other up?" All we've heard is them hating each other. It's like, can't believe everything you read, man. You just can't.
All right, and a special fuck you goes to the fans that also perpetuated this whole thing too, because like I said, you ruined the team. I'm like, mind you, the Wizards team was actually, I'm like, good defensively when Paul Pierce was there, but the year after he left, that's when that whole fan outcry, media outcry. Oh, we gotta be like the Warriors. We gotta score 120 some points and sacrifice the defense. And his team hasn't had the attitude or the effort level to play defense ever since. Have also perpetuated this whole John Wall versus Bradley Beal. I look at the fact that for a minute, mid-season, Washington football fans were perpetuating this whole Jonathan Allen versus Deron Payne. I'll put his stats in. I'm like, they both played defensive tackle, and according to the grades, they were the top 2 defensive tackles when it came to defensive stops. So right. It's like, why are we always pitting teammates against each other? Now, I understand friendly competition, but as fans, when you have already a young front four, they're dominant on the inside. They're dominant on I wouldn't say they're dominant all around just yet. Like I said, they can only get better, and I hope that front four stays together. But why pit one versus the other? Like the whole middle of the year, the fans were perpetuating that the fact that Chase Young was a bust. I was like, what? I'm like, obviously you guys aren't watching football. The man's getting double, triple teamed, quadruple teamed, quintuple teamed, everything. He's being like, all eyes on him. That's why, and it's funny because in college, everybody got on his case how he disappeared in the bowl game. But shoot, when you got 3 niggas checking you every single play, of course you're gonna disappear. And even and sometimes even when there's 3 people, he still manages to apply pressure. Sometimes it's not about getting to the quarterback. Sometimes it's just being in eyesight of the quarterback. If that quarterback, especially like I look at Tom Brady. When Tom Brady went up against the Giants in both Super Bowls and went up against that front four, he was being harassed. It wasn't the fact that he was just getting sacked. He was being harassed.
Right.
That's enough to get the Tom Brady. Because other than that, he's just, you could never really touch him. So
what's going on, Eagles?
Yeah, there we go. Hey, what's up? And then let's see. Neff also said if I did a podcast, it would be pure paid per view. This man want to get he want to get paid to do. I want First and Frame Race crew on there, no holds barred, just pure talk. I'm like, you're always welcome to come on First and Frame. And shoot, you can come on here. Whenever you feel like it. It's one of those things where it's just like we can all talk, no holds barred. We're kind of used to it. We're all adults.
That's all we.
Yeah,
that's all we do.
Pretty much. So, all right. So, yeah, sad situation in Washington. John Wall is just. I'm like, John Wall is being John Wall, which I thought he was going to be John Wall. He's not going to change, and Shepard made a fucking mistake, and Ted Leonsis is just treating the Wizards like a redheaded stepchild. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So, all right, so we're gonna roll away from that. I'll put a football reference. Roll away from that, roll away from all the heat, and we're gonna roll into some more heat because this has been going on.
Oh boy,
this whole time in stocks. Now, crazy thing. Now, we talked about this on First and Frame Race. We pretty much labeled this company dead and buried.
Mm-hmm.
Newsflash, they're still dead and buried.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, okay, just to give you guys context. So they were originally set at like around $2 per share on the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Just over the weekend, their stock went from $2 to 300. At the highest point was 380 per share. And oh, okay, this is Neff talking about red-headed stepchild. Okay, I got you. So they went up to about 380 per stock, and this is all driven. And I'm gonna summarize this. I'm not gonna go into the weeds about this. Basically, what took place was that investors put a bet on GameStop going under. They
Right.
borrowed money to bet against GameStop. What
Yep.
happened was that people started buying stock, they started investing, and it drove the prices up because these investors took out loans, and their goal was to drive the price even lower than what it was. Like imagine that $2 threshold it was. The goal was to get the price lower than that. So when they paid back, they would pay back less than what they originally bought the stock for. Well, that backfired because now instead of paying less than $2 per share on the loan or for whatever how many shares they got, now the guy paid three. Right now it's sitting at 330 per share. So yeah, haha. And it's nothing that GameStop, the store, the company did on its own. So that's I kind of label this as fool's gold. So what are your thoughts, Bills?
I mean, it's insane. I'm reading here that, you know, the value increased to over 24 billion when it was 2 billion in a matter of days.
Mm-hmm.
And just between Tuesday and Wednesday, it went up over 10 billion. I mean, it's a situation where in this day and age, this is the information age, and once people get a hold of a little information, they're going to take absolute advantage of it. Um, and yeah, they've put a hold on buying stock, but it's just a bad look overall. I mean, AMC's caught up in this,
Oh yeah,
so
AMC and also Blockbuster. Everybody remember remember that
yep,
store?
yep.
Yeah, apparently they're. But the funny thing is, they went from 6 cents to 11 cents. That was their increase, and it's under BB like liquidation because they're gone. There's one store in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so and yes, they used to be arrows back in the day. Let me because Complimentary just popped up. So hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, Conglomerate?
So yeah, he was right. Definitely, um, it was arrows back in the day. I remember going there. I remember I participated in a video game tournament, and I think I came in fifth in that tournament. But that was like a long time ago. All right, I don't know who this person is, but thank you for coming through.
This is insane.
So it says. So what are you seeing?
I'm just reading this article from CNET, and it's just saying, yeah, it says though GameStop hasn't fundamentally changed much in the past month, its stock has shot up more than 10,400%.
Mm-hmm.
This dynamic has led Wall Street investors who bet against the company's future to lose billions of dollars, and the excitement is driving the hype even further. Over the past week, the finance world watched in shock as GameStop stock rose to unthinkable levels. Even Elon Musk tweeted about it, pointing his 43 million followers to a link of the Reddit community investing in GameStop. By close of regular trading Wednesday afternoon, the stock was $347.51 per share. Mind you, in the summer of 2019, it was at $3.30.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just it's insane, but that just shows the power of social media. Honestly, that's what it
Right.
shows.
And it's funny that literally in a way is capitalism, because it was the demand made the value go up, and
Yeah.
at the cost of these people betting against. So, hey, if these people got disposable money, they want to bet against somebody's future. Not today, not in
You
today's,
losing
especially.
billions. You played
Right,
yourself.
pretty much. But for those that were part of that boom, get ready to jump off. Just letting you know. It hit 380. I don't think it can go higher. It's just my.
Well, some people had $1 million paydays. I'm seeing,
Oh yeah, people went
but
from like.
yeah, they definitely need to call it quits at this point.
But here's the thing though. Now that we know this is a tactic, I think
Mhm.
government is kind of keeping an eye on this. I think the Treasury Department is going to be keeping an eye on this, because it traditionally is not the way it's supposed to be done. But under capitalism, you could do this. You demand goes up, so does the value of something. So
Of
you
course.
want something, it's more valuable. That's just the way
Yep.
it is. The store did nothing on its own. The company did nothing,
Nothing.
and
Nothing.
that's why I kind of label it as fool's gold. So at the end of the day, if you were a part of the boom, I think just maybe just keep an eye on it, but eventually you're gonna have to hop off. But you would have made your money. That would have been like at its height, $278 profit. If you were there at the beginning, and if you chose, like VF technically was there. I'm gonna call him out on this one. He left early.
Mm-hmm.
He made a profit, but if he would have stuck it out, because I never touched it, because I'm just like, okay, they're dead in the water. They're gonna go under. I'm gonna wind up losing, even though it's like $3 or $2 per share. But imagine if you had 5 of these. That's damn. That's $1,000 you could have made
$1,000.
if you had 5 to 10. Yeah, that man. Get your money.
Yeah.
Get it while you can. That's the
Plug it.
advice I have. And then jump off.
Yep.
Because there's going to be another one. Unless it gets frozen, or whether they deem this illegal actions, which I don't think they can, because again, it's supply and demand.
It's legal.
Demand,
Yeah.
demand drives up the value. So it's just like, hey, don't bet against the company for failing unless you know for sure they're going to fail. Like, bet on Blockbuster next.
Yep.
Anyway, so all right, so we got Neff says all game stores will be ghosted soon. Hard copies are not flying off the shelf, and with COVID, that's putting the last nails on the coffin. And that's what we brought up on First and Frame Rates. I think it was, I don't know how many episodes ago, but it was during the fall of last year we brought it up. And like I said, this has nothing to do with sales in their stores or sales on their online, or the whole thing with next gen consoles, which has been a sham from the very beginning. So I know Bills is enjoying his next gen console, but for me it doesn't exist, especially when it comes to 2K. I'm playing OG's copy. He's playing Zara. And Zara is just now catching up.
If this was First and Frame Rates, I would have a rant.
Well, nothing's stopping you. I'm like, you're free to do what you need to do. You need to remember,
I'll slip it into
we're
that.
in the day and age where people just gotta get their shit off. And
Dude, so what the hell?
oh boy, what popped up now?
Oh, this clown went and deleted his comment.
Uh-oh. Somebody got caught with the foot in their mouth, apparently.
Somebody, so literally, as soon as I got this notification, somebody went and deleted their comment. It was on my video from mad long ago, and I can't see it now. And it was a Madden 18-0 theory test.
Oh, I remember that.
And the guy says, "I want to be Madden King based on your garbage, useless comments on other channels. I should have guessed." Mind you, it was a video explaining the zero theory. Where was my approach to be a Madden King? That's why he deleted his comment, because he knew he was going to come across as a dipshit if he kept that up there. So, whatever. Good on him.
You got a request.
Tell us, nigga. Let's go. All right.
Here we go.
So I don't know how this shit happens, but the Lakers, and this isn't the current Lakers. This isn't the 01 Lakers. This isn't the 04 Lakers. This isn't the all-time Lakers. Every Lakers team on the game has a glitch with the offensive adjustments portal of the game. For example, okay, so for those of you who haven't played NBA 2K, this is going to take a little bit for me to explain this because it's a bit different on Next Gen. So on Next Gen, what they did was, for the casuals, they went and compartmentalized all the offensive settings, right? So, instead of setting up your settings in a way that would be, a strategy geared towards getting to the basket, now they just have a fucking setting that's called get to the basket. Instead of having a pick and roll strategy, now it's literally just something that says pick and roll, right? They have your focus players that you can automatically assign, all this bullshit, right? So every other team, when you go into the game, because I do my rosters, there's an option that says auto. If you pick auto, it goes based on the settings that I applied to them outside of the game, which means if I want LeBron to only be a pick and roll ball handler, pick and roll point, and guard post up, that's what he's going to do. The Lakers, and I'm talking every Lakers team, whether it's all time or current, they don't have this option. They literally don't have it. And then on top of that, if you pick another one, like set offense, which is like a more methodical offense, if you pick that, guess what happens? They change it back to pick and roll. If you put it on run freelance, they'll put it on play through star. You get where I'm going with this? They change your settings for you. And, I read an article, and this just goes to how much of a dipshit Czar is. I read an article from about a month ago that basically debunked the patch notes of the game that said, well, if you want to go and change the tempo and you want to go and change the rebounding settings, you can turn Ace off and it'll do it. No, you can't. You have to keep the shit on. So I tried it with only the offensive Ace on. I tried it with only the defense. I tried it with both. It'll change your strategy on a whim. And it's only with the Lakers. I don't know what this fucking personal vendetta is. I don't know if it was because Scotto G is a Lakers fan. Maybe they just wanted to fucking pull this bullshit because he left. I don't know what it is, but it's fucking annoying because I checked every other team on the game pretty much, and it doesn't happen with them. So they need to fix that. It's talking about open a ticket. No, fix your fucking game. You didn't have any game testers that could figure this out? Oh, I'm sorry. The game testers don't use game adjustments. They just play the fucking game and shoot threes and play on 2K camera and shove their finger up their ass and whatever else they like to do as game testers. It's utter bullshit. This game is starting to piss me off. I like the Lakers. I want to use the Lakers. I want to use the all-time Lakers. I want to use the 04 Lakers. I want to use the 01 Lakers. What the fuck? And you can't use them. They'll continue to change the strategy over and over and over again. And it's crazy. Like, I'll pause every 2 seconds just to look and see if they changed it. They'll literally change it, like, right when you unpause and then pause the game back. It'll be changed without anything happening. It's utterly ridiculous. I'm not opening a fucking ticket for this. Y'all need to fix the fucking game. That's the end of my rant. It was a pretty simple rant. Fix your fucking game. I mean, it's enough. It's enough that your Ace adjustments for the computer came out fucked up. And the funny part is, here's the funniest part about this shit. I was one of the few people tweeting about this, and he ignored me and just went in and fixed it. Right? Because the problem was me, apparently. I was the one that had the problem. Nobody else had the problem. If you ask dipshit Izzy Snow, wherever his bitch ass is, if I ever see you in real life, you're getting fucked up, by the way. If you ask Izzy Snow, this is just a personal complaint of mine, apparently. God forbid I want pick and roll to run correctly. So they went behind the scenes and they just fixed it. They didn't put it in the patch notes. He goes on his fucking stream and says, "Oh, for those of you who are looking for the pick and roll, it's playing a lot better now." Well, you said it was going to do that on day one, Czar. Mr. Basketball expert, Mr. I can take on both sides of the ball now. Mr. Scotto G was doing everything so wrong and I'm doing everything so right. Well, explain to me why a guy has to have 30 at half for the computer to make a fucking adjustment defensively. Explain to me why we don't have cross matchups in the game that the computer are using. Explain to me why all the settings you put in as far as how people defend, back screens and flare screens and dribble handoffs. Explain to me why the computer doesn't use any of that shit. Oh, I know why. Because you're all talk, no fucking substance. Your offense has played well in the game pretty much since you've gotten there. I'll give you kudos for that. But on the defensive side of the ball, fucking Swiss cheese. Your help principles are outdated and shitty. You don't give us the settings to adjust that. So your only options are auto, help with no rotation, or what's the other one? Fucking no rotation or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry, but y'all don't get a pass with this shit. Y'all don't. This is game tester shit. This is shit that there has to be one Lakers fan that's a fucking game tester. There has to be one fucking Lakers fan that is one of them game changers, so to speak, that you bring down there. There has to be at least one. You're telling me that this was just an oversight? This just happened to be in the game and nobody fucking noticed this? That, you know what that shows? That shows that the people who claim they're sim heads in this community really aren't fucking sim heads. Because if they were, they would notice that shit like this is happening. But it takes me saying, oh, I wonder why my settings keep changing. Oh, let me go look online. Oh, okay, he says to keep Ace on. Oh, okay, I kept Ace on. It's still happening. Okay, let's try another Lakers team. Oh, it's happening here too. Like, what the fuck? I mean, we're in January. We're at the end of January. This shit is fucking terrible. And you know what? You know who else I got to call out? I got to call out y'all fucking, you fucking inconsistent, biased, slanted crowd-ass people who want to knock all the other games, but when this shit happens in 2K, y'all are nowhere to be found. Okay, let's just say that no play out of shotgun worked on a certain team, right? Let's say the Eagles, for example, since Eagles Hayes just commented. I guarantee you, if every play in shotgun in Madden was broken, it would be the roast session of the fucking century, even though this is. It would be the roast session of the fucking decade, all right? And, that's what kills me about it. It's like, nobody talks about it. It's 2K. Oh, 2K is great with the graphics. Fuck that. Fix your game. That's why I'm done with the rant. I'm done with the rant. Fix your fucking game. I'm tired of it. You ruined the Lakers for me. I can't use the Lakers anymore. Oh, my God. I have a fucking headache.
See? Feels just like gravity. All it takes is just a push. So you don't want to get them started on the whole thing about play action. And so we're not even going to.
We'll gladly take a look at this. Could you please open a ticket so we can figure out what's going on? Suck a dick.
And we'll end the rant time on that note as the buzzer sounds.
Like, but it's just like, you know what it's like? It's just like you in franchise mode with Madden. It's one of them things where, you know, they lie to you, right? They give you all of these, you know, they say the right things, right? But here's another thing that I just noticed. There's not even a blog out about this. There's not a blog out about the offensive adjustments on next gen. I just realized that. I looked it up today. There's no blog. They didn't profile it. You know, he just popped up in his little shitty ass stream and started talking about, this fucking voice changer, whatever the fuck he uses. Fake ass Questlove.
All right, so we're gonna need you to relax now because
I'm fine.
you even said your rant time's over. Now you're doing overtime.
I'm fine.
Giving these people free entertainment. I swear.
I'm good.
You know, you had a cheering section and everything. I'm like, man.
All it takes is one person to move him out inside the beach. Oh man.
All right, so that was Rant Time, brought to you by Bills 4. You can go check them out over on Twitter. You can check them out over, and we'll probably be canceled after this.
Find a good comment.
I don't think you're gonna find his comment anyway.
Yeah, he deleted. He's a bitch.
So, all right, so we're on to our third topic, and I'm sure this is probably going to be really talked about, and that is Ninja.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting one.
Of course, I paraphrased what he said, and pretty much that's what I got from what he said. Look, I'm not a role model. You know who else said this? Charles Barkley said this. So that's my yes, and he took heat for it. So we're gonna my premise is basically from Charles Barkley because he actually clarified his comments on that notion, and he was saying that it was while he was doing a tour of the school systems and at the predominantly white schools, he would ask, "Who wants to be a basketball player?" Only a few of them raised their hands, whatever. They would say stuff like doctors, lawyers, and stuff like that. Now, it's funny, growing up in school, you know, and my community is diverse. So I was one of those people that was like doctor, lawyer, whatever. I wasn't thinking professional athlete, stuff like that. But he would go to a predominantly black school and everybody raised their hand. Same question. Everybody raised their hand. Right. And it's one of those things where we're predominantly exposed to think that the only way we can make it is through sports and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And that it has popped up, and every now and then you'll get a few of us break into being a doctor, a lawyer, judge, president of the United States. But that didn't happen until this like last half of the century. So Ninja did a interview in New York Times, and I'm going to do my share screen option here. Wish me luck.
Can't be as bad as
there we go.
Thing.
You got it. So now this is not from New York Times, because when I go to New York Times, they ask me to subscribe, and hell no, I'm not subscribing to it. Yeah, I'm like, it's a fucking publication. I should not have to subscribe to anything. I'm like, newspapers used to be free back in the day. Access to the Washington Post is cut. They want people to subscribe instead of reading free articles. They give you, that's a rant.
And on top of that, the fucking newspaper, like the actual one you can go buy, is like $3.50 now. So you gotta be kidding me. My mom still reads the paper, and I buy it for her. That's the only reason why I know.
Yeah, they didn't kiss my ass on that. And then before we go into the article here, let's see. I know Subliminary was like, sure did. I forgot what I was saying, or what we were saying.
Charles Barkley.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, see, that's why I got Bills here. I've already know that his memory is better than mine. So, he definitely keeps me in line. So, it says, I know your work. I heard you smash on and what?
His name is Tyler Blevins. That's funny.
Yeah, that's his name. Is Tyler Blevins. So, I'm trying to figure out. what Neff is talking about. That doesn't even sound right.
Clowning people, I guess.
Probably. Oh yeah, now I remember. Okay, my memory does come back. See, I just need my memory jog.
Bankroll,
And
those cracking Cadillac S-Class bitches Louis Vuitton.
so I brought that up in my rant earlier. Oh, so maybe I need to check out the full rant then, because he'd be the second person that's mentioned my name in rationale of reasoning why something was going on. Because Dez brought up my name in the whole thing with Smitty. Him and Smitty were having beef or whatever. So all right, and then hell no, bank robberies, fake IDs, crack Cadillac. Okay, he's reciting lyrics. Oh, he was saying I cook niggas. All right, so back to Ninja. So scroll through this.
Wow, I'm reading more of this. Is like,
Okay, it's good that you're looking at it because I didn't even think to send a link to you. But let's see.
oh, shut the. Let me stop.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of people that have sounded off on this. There was one person that I follow. I've been following this dude on YouTube. It's like New Yokio or whatever. New Yoko, not Yokio. There's like two different
Okay,
YouTubers
that's
I
the end
follow.
of the. Okay, cool.
So
Keep that up.
there are people because exactly what he said, because it was centered around racism and white privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Was the whole comment about it's not my job to be your kid's parent. You know, those are not my kids. Um, and then there was another thing he said. It was like if you really want
I
to know
have
about.
I have all the quotes here in this
Oh,
article.
okay, yeah. If you can throw them up there, that.
Well, I'll just send you the link.
Oh, actually, no. I have one of the quotes here. It says, "You want to know who your kid is? Listen to him when he's playing video games when he thinks you're not, and that's what he thinks you're not listening in." And then he was like, here's another thing. How does a white kid know he has white privilege if his parents never teach him or don't talk about racism? Well, let's see if it can.
Yeah, this article has all the quotes that I just sent you. It has like literally every single one, pretty much.
Okay. So.
Even a response that somebody gave to him, which was ridiculous.
Okay, I'll check that after because I got this one. So you look at this quote here. I agree with him. When you're a kid growing up, you really are taught everything, but there's going to be two sides of it. There's going to be the at home education, and there's going to be the streets. We're just going to call them. You're either going to be educated at home or you're going to be educated on the streets. As a parent, you don't want your kids receiving education from the streets because the streets don't have limitations of what they will tell your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that when when he brings up later talking about parents need to do a better job of parenting their kids and be the ones to educate their kids on white privilege, racism, and whatnot. I agree with the notion that it's not his responsibility to teach kids, especially other kids, that theme. I would put him in the side of the streets, and
Right.
I look at it also as well. Our parents used to teach us about stranger danger. We don't talk to strangers, and that was if we weren't taught that, we'd be talking to everybody on the streets. We probably get snatched up more by people on the streets. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just using it as a literal term, but I'm also using it metaphorically because it's one of those things. Like I said before, you don't want the streets teaching your kids what you could easily teach them at home,
Right.
and because you're the parents, you get like kids can see stuff on the street. They come home and they kind of mimic what they see, and then you as the parent could shape that a little bit better, give them better a viewpoint of what they're seeing. not just leave it. Don't lean on the streets to teach their kids something you could easily teach at home. And I should have prefaced this earlier. Look, I don't have kids of my own. You can shoot me. I don't give a fuck. But I know growing up what I went through. You know, my father raised me. Originally, it started out as it was like my mother and my father. At a certain point, so it didn't work out. Everybody went their separate ways. You know, my father raised me for a majority of my life, so he was able to interpret to me what was going on, what I was seeing as I was growing up. So it actually helped me make better judgments on stuff. But if he had just left it on the streets, I would have been like most of my friends. Would have been out there hanging out. Like he taught me the whole thing about if you're part of a group of people that was just like maybe a couple of people just caused an issue where somebody called the police. He was the one that taught me. It was like, if you see a paddy wagon, if you're part of a group that's just hanging around and you see a paddy wagon just flying across the street, they're scoping you out so they know how many to bring so they can scoop everybody up. Even though not everybody in that crowd, he came out the house and pulled myself and a friend of mine from that crowd. Now, was anybody on the streets going to do that? No, we were all just hanging out. So it's one of those things where now I know it's harder as a parent to limit what your kids are exposed to because they have the internet, social media, stuff like that. But I feel like parents do need to step up and understand what their kids are being exposed to so they can better interpret it. I'm like, even if you have to research people like Ninja, find out what he's done in his background so you can tell your kids, okay, Ninja is this person who made his fame and fortune through gaming. That's it. That's all he's done. He's not been somebody that been at schools and talked about racism and white privilege and blah, blah, blah. He's just lived his life. It's not his responsibility to teach something that you as a parent can teach your kids yourself. Now I'm going to stop right there because I can go on and on about this, but I get lost in rambling. So, Bills?
No, you covered a lot of it. I'm looking at these comments here. Okay, he says it comes down to parenting. You want to know who you... Well, okay, you already read that tweet. Okay, he says... is it my job to have this conversation with this kid? No, because the first thing that's going on in my head is this kid is doing this on purpose to troll me. If someone says a racial slur on someone else's stream, it can potentially get that streamer banned. It's awful, but that's the first thing I think of. So then somebody came, this is what I really want to address. Somebody came and said, correct, but hopefully you can see your privilege as an influencer who has the platform of 24 million and educate yourself and subscribers on the civil rights issues in the world. Some who look up to you and not their parents as a role model, that is your job. No, it's not. If he did not start out as a person talking about civil rights and get his fame and fortune from talking about civil rights, it is not his job to shift and talk about civil rights. If he wants to do that, he is completely open to do that. It's like somebody telling me as a musician that it's my job to talk about civil rights. No, it's not. It's my job to make fucking music, right? And the issue, and I take this personally because I'm a musician, that people hold celebrities and, entertainers, everybody of that ilk, to a higher standard morally than regular everyday folks. And how is that right? Because it's like he said, his job is to stream, make videos of him playing video games, and that's his job. That's how he gets paid. He doesn't get paid to parent your kid. He didn't make that kid. You made that kid. So that's the issue, is people always want to pass the buck and make it something that a celebrity should be doing. First off, 24 million subscribers is not a privilege. He earned that. They weren't handed to him. he was making content that clearly was appealing enough to people that they subscribed. And slowly but surely, he made his way to 24 million. It's not a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So the audacity of this chick to talk about, well, you got to look at it as your privilege. What the fuck are you talking about? Do you have a privilege to break out into civil rights speak while you're flipping burgers at Burger King? Oh, you don't. So why the fuck does he have any more obligation than you? You see what I'm saying? It's like, that shit's crazy to me. No, parents need to parent their kids. When I was little, my parents didn't have to tell me that the guns in GTA were something that I didn't need to have in my possession. I had common fucking sense, and that's another thing the kids are missing these days. Common sense. Common sense isn't common. And yeah, it's what you grow up around, but it's also just, you know, your parents being an example for you. Your role model, first and foremost, should be your parents. Period. End of story. The shit you see on TV is entertainment. You can't trust most of it. Your parents are supposed to tell you that. It is not Ninja's job. His job is to make compelling, interesting, entertaining content for you to watch. Not to sit you down and say, hey, Peter, let me tell you about civil rights. No. I don't know where people get off thinking that celebrities are supposed to have this high moral compass just because they're rich, just because they have a platform. It's not their obligation. People want to make it their obligation. It is not their fucking obligation. I'm so tired of that. Is he indirectly a role model? Sure. Does he have to embrace it? Fuck no, he doesn't. He doesn't have to embrace it. Look how many athletes today don't embrace it. They don't have to.
Well, shoot. Just to point out one athlete that, you know, fans went after when he didn't really support like Black Lives Matter by wearing the shirt, and then when he got injured, they went in on him. It was like karma. I'm like,
right.
What? So now we're celebrating injuries because a person didn't support a cause that he didn't feel like. I'm like, like all that really doesn't make any sense. I understand that people have their opinions and people want to like influence their opinion to think that everyone else should be what their opinion is. And, you know, that's not real life. I'm like, people. Oh, go ahead.
Think about this. The same people who talk about
just to bring in Eagles has a good point. Some people don't want to raise their children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the thing is, the same people who are talking about, oh, you're a role model, they'd be the same people that if Kevin Owens, for example, goes and acts like a heel, which he's paid to fucking do, towards their child, they'd want to sue. But they're the ones that brought their kid to that show in the first place. He's a heel. He's going to act like a heel. You think he's going to break character for you? Fuck no. What is he breaking character for you for? My parents used to tell me, guess what? You can watch the 8 to 9:30 version of that show. Or I'm sorry, you can watch the 8 to 9. Yeah, you can watch the 8 to 9 version of Raw. But when all that crazy shit in the second hour comes on, turn it off. They didn't have Sable with her titties out in the first hour. They had the second hour. So that's what I'm saying is like, parent your fucking kid. I'm not going to bring my kid to a show that I know. That's like me bringing my kid to a Dave Chappelle show and he says some shit that's off the wall and I'm going to go and blame him. Why am I blaming him? I brought my kid here. My kid don't belong there. If you feel like Ninja's doing something that isn't proper for a role model, then maybe you should police more what your kid is looking at online. You ever think of that? No. They want to pass the buck. Like I said, the same people want to sue McDonald's because their ass got fat and they sat there and ate all that fucking McDonald's, and now they want to sue McDonald's.
God, I remember that.
I'm fat now, and they didn't let me know. It's fucking stupid, bro.
All right, so Villain in Black, Doug Thomas, it makes a good point. He says when school shootings happen, they blame music. I know that's what you were trying to type. I'm not going to hold you on that. Video games and so on. A girl in high school gets pregnant. It's somebody like Cardi B or whatever female entertainer is popping. Never the parents' fault. And then also they use TV to raise their kids. And yeah, that's the crazy part. It's like it's your responsibility, even though you don't even know it's your. I'm like some people understand that they are looked at as role models. That's not forget about that equation. These celebrities, they know they're being watched. They know they're being looked up to. That's why they are where they are at currently. But at the same time, it's like a lot of times if you're trying to fit somebody's role that you don't even know, it compromises who you are.
Right.
Going back to the whole theme of do you want to be raised at home or on the streets? The streets is uncensored. You as a parent, you don't want people raised by the streets because they will see everything and the interpretation will fall on the kids, not on the parents shaping what the kids are seeing.
They're the same parents that send their kid to school, the kid gets the ass whooped, and talk about why did the teacher do something. Guess what? Your kid's a fucking bully. And the other kid took it into his own hands and beat the hell out of your kid. So maybe if you parent your kid, it won't be tell the teacher, you tell the teacher. No, fuck that. I was raised, if somebody hits you, you hit them back. There ain't no tell the teacher. But more importantly, how your kid acts at home is a good indication of how they will act elsewhere because they'll be intimidated of the repercussions if they act up because they know or they think in their head you'll somehow, some way find out. But then that also goes into people think they shouldn't discipline their kids anymore. Now that's another thing. They want to be the kid's best friend and all this other bullshit. All that goes into it. So I mean, it's funny, bro. Like especially down south. Down south they don't go for that shit. You whoop your kid's ass. That's what it is. Up north, you want to do all that time out and stare at the wall in the corner and all that bullshit. That's fine. I mean, I'm sure every black kid that was raised has heard in some form or fashion, I'm not one of your little friends. You ain't gonna talk to me like that.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I'm not one of your little friends. Period. But on the other side of things, you got these northern parents. Oh well, Jesse, tell me what's wrong. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I said, I can get in a rant about that. Parent your fucking kids. You should be the one teaching them right from wrong, not Ninja, who's literally paid to play a game where he shoots people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's it. I'm like, folks, that's what you want your kids to be raised by him.
Does Ninja's content look like he's gonna give you anything thought-provoking to think about? Right. He's gonna give you a Booker T. Washington entry to read? Fuck no.
I'm like, what parents are placing value in people like Ninja is misplaced greatly. He is only valuable if you want to teach your kids how to play games, how to be better at games, right. Maybe how to make it on YouTube, stuff like that. You limit what the example that person is, but since you don't personally know them, you can't expect them to be the role model that you think they should. I'm like, just because, and Bill's highlighted this earlier, just because they have that platform doesn't mean they have to speak. Like, okay, Don Lemon chided Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart went out and was like, look, I'm cool with everybody, love who you love, whatever, but I'm not gonna, I choose not just to be behind the scenes when it comes to stuff like I'm not gonna be like champion, whatever. And Don Lemon proceeded to go, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes to roast Kevin Hart, tease them, basically publicly on national TV, bullied Kevin Hart.
And what they think, and the worst part is, they think anything that isn't championing that cause is opposition against it.
Right.
And that's the crazy thing.
Right. So it's just like the same people that are part of anti-bullying. I know this is kind of like a sidebar, anti-bullying, but you did the very thing that you're against. So that makes you a hypocrite. So when Don Lemon did that, I immediately was like, oh, you're a hypocrite. You don't believe in bullying people, but you just did it on now live TV because somebody didn't. And I don't know. That could be.
How responsible of a parent can you be to want a stranger to teach your kid right from wrong? I mean, if we're really breaking this down fundamentally and literally just on a base level, you're asking a stranger to raise your kid. How are you not? You don't have to read between the lines. Literally, you're asking a stranger who doesn't know your kid to raise your kid.
Right.
Virtually.
Now, you know what's funny? Growing up in the 80s and 90s, there were stuff on TV you could rely on. You could rely on G.I. Joe. As violent as the cartoon violence was, there was a message at the end of the show. They purposely had stuff. It was in the FCC rule books policy that a TV show or whatever has to have a certain amount of morality based content within their content. Mm-hmm. So G.I. Joe, of course, we have Sesame Street, we have stuff like that. Exactly. Preliminary. It's let's see. Now and knowing is half the battle. I actually posted a tweet like that because of something I made a mistake with. So, but I know you had put out a bunch of quotes from what you saw. Now, there was some on here too, so I'm gonna roll through this one. Just going through. So you see this one, yelling at your child, they're whatever, or and a loser nobody loves is child abuse. Being 19 and 16 and 17-year-old, aka sending pics, whatever, is requesting news is a felony. Relying on Ninja to be a good role model is a reasonable expectation.
Okay. No. See, because here's the thing. Ninja's not responsible for your expectations either. Your expectations should be based on his prior content. He sets that expectation by the content he puts out. If he changes his content, then you can rightfully so change your expectations. That's the issue. What you expect and what you deserve or what you're entitled to are two completely different fucking things. I can take a chick out in Wine and Diner and spend $500 on her and expect to get some pussy. And guess what? If I get to her doorstep and she says, no, you're not fucking tonight, and I steal that pussy, guess what? I'm a rapist. So my expectations didn't mean shit. So I mean, expectation. Oh, it's fucking ridiculous, bro.
So this next person was like, you guys, what is Ninja's job? I'm confused. We are streamers. We literally don't have jobs. We just lay in a giant pile of cash all day. That it's kind of like mocking the fact that why are we even looking to him for that kind of,
which is what we said. Yeah. I mean, does Ninja make content that would lead you to believe that he is going to start every podcast with an overlay of a Martin Luther King quote? If the answer is no, then people need to stop complaining about this shit.
All right, and then we have this guy who says, I don't get why Ninja has to be a parent of any kind of any kid viewers. I think spreading a positive message is important, which I believe in too. But the parents should be more involved in that stage. Don't let people online raise your kids, dumbasses. That goes back to the whole sentiment of: do you want your kids raised by the streets or at home?
But see, and then this is where the deeper conversation comes in of where does your morality come from? Does it come from the Bible? Does it come from life experience? And that's when we really get into a slippery slope because, quite frankly, a lot of people can't even tell you where their morality stems from. So one person thinking that, yes, morally it would be right for him to basically help raise people's kids, the next person can be like, no, what does that have to do with morals? So, I mean, it could go back and forth.
And then his wife also, she chimed in. Of course, she's going to defend her man, which I would expect that from my significant other to defend me if I'm getting attacked. And then if there's stuff behind the scenes, whatever. But she puts, if any of these people tweeting actually watch Ninja's stream, they know how many times he's spoken out about issues of racism, white privilege, and having zero tolerance for racism in his games or channel. Now, he has been involved in a couple of uh, controversial things, but that's neither here nor there. He does his part. He just isn't holding a seminar on a topic, which
Yo, I just thought of something.
oh, what's that?
You know what this is like? This is like when everybody was making criticism videos and critique videos of Madden,
Mm-hmm.
and we were having fun and trolling, and everybody was like, well, you guys should be making breakdown videos. And we're like, but we set the precedent that we weren't going to do that anymore. Yeah, but you're supposed to be. It's like, no.
And then how we were being portrayed as a gang.
Right.
And that has some racial tones to it too. Ryan Moody.
This reminds me of that so much.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers made videos bitching because we weren't making videos about Madden that were negative and, oh, you should be critiquing and people are watching and you got to tell them the truth about Madden. And it's the same shit. It's just a different topic. It's people's expectations versus the precedent you set.
So, and it looks like this article also goes into the brand versus the person, which there's always a case. I'm like, let's just make it simple for between like us two here. I'm like, I think that where we're at, there's no difference.
No.
You what you see is what you get. We've told everybody we're very transparent. What you see is what you get. But when you get to a certain level, there is going to be the brand versus the person. So then this is where it's like everyone's putting the expectation on the brand. I feel like that's what's going on, but not the person. Or they're trying to use the brand to be the person.
They're trying to blur the lines and make it so that they become the same. But I'm sorry, it's like thinking Mark Calloway and the Undertaker are the same. They're not. Sorry.
Yeah, that Eagles. That was definitely when you took a break from YouTube. That's when everybody. Yeah, that was when like everybody split apart and everybody doing their thing. There was no more like real sim community. As much as people try to say there still is. I'm like, this is just gonna go. So I'm gonna stop.
Keep going. Wait, hold on. Keep going down.
Wait, this one or keep going here?
Yeah. All right, now keep going. 20 see 16 plus online underwear. Keep going. Past that. Okay, wait. Go to a paragraph right under the video. The one that says, okay, here we go. This consumer friendly. Okay. So the thing about this is that people are taking his public persona and really, quite frankly, before the meteoric rise, right? I mean, they were profiling his rise to fame, but, we're talking about 2017, which he didn't have the meteoric rise quite yet. He's playing H1Z1.
Right.
And what they're doing is they're using an outdated standard for what they think he should be. Because the thing is, You go back to 2017, they're giving you a quote of him cussing or whatever. The issue is just because he's not as vulgar nowadays in his streams, and just because he's going on Ellen doesn't mean that he's supposed to automatically shift and, go back to what everybody else wants him to go back to. And it also doesn't mean that he can play both sides, right? And there's nothing wrong with that because it is a persona. That's the issue that they're not getting here. I'm reading this paragraph and it's basically saying the consumer-friendly version of Ninja was in direct contrast to how he can be sometimes on stream. Yeah, he can play both sides. He's a persona. That's what he is. And as your brand grows, you naturally are going to get less vulgar, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that your content as a whole changes. And that's what they're not getting.
They apparently got on him for this statement about how he feels about gaming with women.
And once again, there's nothing that I can cry foul about with that quote either. I mean,
and the thing is, I've seen this actually pan out, like from the outside looking in with other streamers. People like rumors just get started, and then even looking at like stuff that goes on in the community that I look to for entertainment with the crumb side of gaming, you see stuff happen there, and it's just like, nah, the Ninja is telling the truth, literally about this. Oh, the truth according to the way we feel. I'm not going to say it's over because there are people on the other side like, oh, he shouldn't say anything like this. I'm like, he can say whatever the hell he wants.
I can bring it back to my profession. It's like me doing a song with a female artist, and everybody automatically thinks, well, are they dating? It's the same thing. Maybe I might say I'm not going to do a song with Billie Eilish, or I'm not going to do a song with blank because I think that the rumors are going to pop up and I don't feel like dealing with it. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with women as a whole. That's what, they take one thing and they try to twist it into their own narrative, and they're not really looking at what actually was said. I remember that one. That quote.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you talking about this one?
In 2020, Blevin sparked controversy again when he talked about players who mock him being on Mixer, saying, I could literally purchase the bank that your house is being loaned out to you and fucking foreclose it. I mean, look, once again, has he set a precedent that this is something that you should be watching? See, that's the issue is like, they say, well, he's been on Ellen, but then look at these examples in the stream. It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't take a TV persona. Let's be honest.
Oh, and just to break in real quick, I do approve of this message. Just a second.
Is Bill Burr gonna go on Ellen and it's gonna be fuck this, fuck that? No. So how could you hold him to the same expectation on national TV as you do on the streams? That's what's crazy about this. It's like, then they find some way call somebody stupid. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, this is gonna be a ton of examples, but I'm like, from this article, it pretty much just tells you that you don't want your kids to watch them. Not watch them. You don't want to use Ninja specifically as an example to be raised on any type of values.
Scroll down.
Go ahead. Where am I?
No, right. You feel free to. Because Fortnite's not that popular anymore.
Right, that's been dying for quite some time.
Hey, whatever, bro. That's so bad.
I think we can wrap this topic up because I can just bring it back.
I think everybody in the chat pretty much seems like, based on the comments, that they agree that Ninja should be raising your child.
And the thing is, it's not even specific. It's not even specifically ninja.
Ninja, but
It's just
anybody.
in general. Any of us are not in
Celebrity.
charge of raising your kids.
Right.
We are in charge. We're charged to take care of either ourselves or our family, if we have them. Like
More
I guess
specifically, our content.
right,
We're in charge
but
of our content. That's the relationship between us and you guys. And it's not to make it seem impersonal, right? Obviously.
right.
But that's how you guys showed up. You showed up because we're putting out content that you guys want to see. That's the simplest way. Now, obviously, we do talk to a lot of y'all in the Discord, but at the same time, we didn't come here with the agreement that we're going to teach you about civil rights. It's just that's
We would be considered the streets for you parents out there. So the thing is, we're being transparent about this. We said, I'm like, as far as first and frame rates, we talk about being uncensored, unapologetic. That's your disclaimer.
Yep.
After that, if you're, and I'm sorry, actually, I'm not sorry. If your kids choose to listen to us, listen, watch with them, so you can be there to guide and let them know, hey, what they said, in my view, is wrong. And you're the ones that are going to be there to teach right for wrong, morality, day-to-day issues. If something organically pops up that we talk about, that you could take a snippet here, a snippet there, but we were not meant to raise other people's kids.
No.
That's your responsibility. And if you're not taking care of your responsibilities, somebody else will. And you won't like it if somebody else is taking care of those responsibilities. So,
and then there's a situation where I know somebody that is going to play contrarian about this will say, well, what about with KB3? Completely different. But more importantly, VF wants to bring him on camera, and if he catches on to some of the things we said, I'm sure that VF is a grown-ass man and will take responsibility for whatever. Now, obviously, we'll try to, when he gets older, censor ourselves. But that's literally having a kid on screen as opposed to, this is what our content is. Your kid is tapping into it. And your kid is a part of the masses at that point. It's different.
See, and it's funny because I was thinking about that too, because I've actually mentioned that whenever he pops on, I clean up my language. But that's just something that I do on my own. That's been really a part of my nature. Again, it's a part of me being transparent as a person that I like. When I would play baseball, I know there are kids watching. When I play football, I'm not the type that's I'm like, I look at the fact that I don't, even though you probably hear me curse, but you can probably tell that I'm not used to cursing a whole lot because that's not really a part of my lingo. Right. I'm like, I've just gotten really comfortable in cursing and saying certain things. There's still things I'm not comfortable in saying, but when it comes to like kids, like when you have KB appear, that I clean up my language. That's just me.
Because you know the environment, right?
Right. But at the same time, seconds later, you'll see VF, grown ass man, curse in front of his kids, and it's just like, well, that's what he chooses to do.
And the other important part is, look, my dad cussed around me,
right?
And he would tell me, "You better not ever say that shit."
Right.
I'd say, "Okay."
I've had my aunt one time challenge me because she thought I had said something, but I think because she thought I had said something, she actually said what it was, and I actually repeated what she was saying, and she hit me. I was just like, "Wait, I didn't say." I know I don't think it's myself. I know I said it, but I wasn't. That's not what I said the first time. It was because you said something. And I was like, I repeated it. I was a child. I'm like, you could have punished me for something that you introduced.
My dad told me, oh man, I remember one time we were in the park right around the corner from where I grew up. And there were these kids just cussing up a storm, bro. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, if I ever hear you talk like that, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
Mm.
And I'm just like, I mean, that's parenting. Tell it now. It might have been expressed in a way that people don't like. Oh, you cuss to the kid, whatever. But the point was, he literally was drawing the line between right and wrong, real time.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, here cussing, that's wrong. End of story.
And it's
yeah.
And it's funny, like I said, and then VF being the parent that he is, I'm like, this is definitely something that would, like, if he were chiming in on this, he definitely would be going crazy about this because he's a firm believer of the fact that you need to be out here and raise your kids, and he'll take it a step further because in the Black community, there's not a lot of Black fathers out there, and it's not, and both are existing at the same time. There are not a lot of Black men that are stepping up to be fathers. There are a lot of Black men that are being taken away from their kids, being hidden from their kids, being, whether it's through government policy or just court rulings, are being only shown their kid through child support and stuff like that, which develops some type of resentment. So it's,
I mean, this generation's so different compared to really when both of us grew up because, when I grew up, I didn't have a cell phone until I was 12. The only reason I had that cell phone was to call my parents to say, yes, I'm leaving school, head home. And it was a fucking flip phone. It wasn't anything I'd enjoy playing around on during school time, right? Now kids have newest iPhone. They can tap into shit they had no business tapping into.
right.
And
Like, hell,
it
they can get to a porn site real quick.
Right, and it wasn't like that back in the day. Right? I mean, shit, if I wanted to watch porn, I had to go on fucking, cable channels and, what's this? Right? But I mean, it's just different, man. And, I think more so than ever now, parents need to check in and, who is your kid, right? Like who is your kid really? Not who is your kid in front of you, but like,
yeah, because
who is your kid?
Yeah, that's a key thing because I'm like, I've been online. I've heard the kids. I'm like, hell, you can go on YouTube. These kids have been recorded.
On Call of Duty.
I'm like, yeah, the old Xbox Live party chats.
Yeah.
Some of these kids out here calling people the N word and blah 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 blah, and
Right.
it's like, somebody pointed out, and this is also where it comes in, is the protective nature of being behind a screen.
Right.
You don't have to take responsibility for what you're saying, like immediate responsibility. Just like I highlighted when I had repeated what my aunt said, she hit me. And I didn't say it after that because I received immediate feedback for what I said, and it was negative, so I didn't say it again. So
Right.
These kids growing up now, they can say a whole bunch of brave shit.
They have access to the adult world way quicker than we ever did. Way quicker.
Man said he
I
had
had
a
a
scheme to watch porn.
I mean, look, you flipping through the channels and you get to Cinemax or HBO, but that's different from here's a phone.
I had to scramble, like the cable channels used to be scrambled, but you could see parts of it. Sometimes it would pop in clear. Like I used to get the wrestling pay-per-views that way. Like sometimes, like there was a WCW event that popped in clear for the whole pay-per-view. I had a free show, but like that, I'm like, that happens. And
my my childhood, just to give y'all some background, like I said, didn't have a cell phone until I was 12. The only computer I had access to was in, the dining room, so to speak, which was a public area with no door, right? So a lot of the stuff that I could have had access to, I was shielded from as a result of the fact that everything was out in the open. My parents could always see what I was doing. I didn't have a TV in my room, right? I didn't have a TV in my room until I was 18. Just think about that. So that's what I'm saying. It's different, right? Now, I look at all my I can't even speak. All my friends when I was growing up, I'm like, shit, you got a TV in your room? Right? I'm thinking, but now that I'm an adult, I'm like, it was good that I didn't have a TV in my room because
look who came back.
Neff, right? He came back to talk about porn on the RCA too.
13-inch TV.
But I mean, excuse me, it's good that I didn't have access to those things when I was younger because it allowed me to be a kid as long as I was gonna be a kid and as long as I should have been a kid. And once I got older, those things slowly started to open up to me, right? Because it's hard for the mind to wonder if you don't really know of those things. You don't even know that they exist. It's like porn. What's that? Right? I don't. So it's just different, man. Now kids got brand new TVs and Xboxes, the newest iPhones. And if you're a parent and you want to buy that stuff for your kid, I mean, there's nothing wrong with buying the stuff for your kid, but you have to monitor what they have access to. And that's the most important part. That's really the most important part. It's like Eagles Hayes said. That's why parents should randomly check their social media. Look, I'll go back to when I was in middle school. I had an AIM account. And that was the extent.
What was it? America Online Instant Messenger?
Yeah.
I think that's what that was called.
That was the extent of my social media, so to speak. I had MySpace. All those are harmless compared to now, right? I mean, Twitter and Facebook and IG. It's just a different era. That's all I can say. It's just a different era, man. It's completely different.
This man said video cassette rip just when shit was interesting. I'm still mad to this day.
Oh my god.
Man, the video cassettes didn't last long. I'm like, I still have video cassettes of like, and I don't know if anybody is watching that's from the DMV area. Well, they don't really consider Baltimore the DMV, but technically it is, but we don't associate. Well, I live closer to Baltimore, but there was a thing called Baltimore Club Music. All my mixtapes are on there. I would record them straight off the radio, 92Q. There was some other stations that were recorded the club mixes. It was some, man, you want to talk about club mixes? Oh man, those were some tight club mixes. But they're available on Spotify. I'll play them for you sometimes because you hear them. You'll be like the early 90s. Man, I can't listen to it now, but
what Neff said is interesting because when he talks about no backbone, what social media teaches you is that you can say whatever you want with no ramifications, right? But then you go to school and you got a kid who's not raised like that and he beats your kid's ass and all of a sudden, it's an issue, right? That's the thing. They want to make you subservient to some higher power that can, police all of this, right? You can say what you want online, and if somebody tries to call you on it, they'll be in trouble. But I mean, that's not how the real world is. If I find you, right, if I have an issue with you, and I somehow find out where you are or see you walking down the street, there ain't gonna be no block, remove friend, none of that shit. You done fucked up. Some of these kids don't even have that coming to their head. They just, I can make this account, no profile pic or hide behind some other picture, right? Talk all the shit I want and never get called on it. It's like I used to say when I first got on Twitter, I'm like, if you call an NBA player a bitch or call him out of his name, he should have permission to just pull up to you and be like, yo, what's good?
Right.
As soon as you start calling somebody out of your name, it should automatically send your zip code and address to that person.
Oh, they talk about that.
You know how crazy that would be?
Now, it was a quote. Bernie Mac said this: "If you're old enough to talk back, you're old enough to hit in the throat, make your teeth click."
Yeah.
So
it's that simple. The way people talk on social media, man. it's like I say, it's the invisible wall of protection. They just, and that's what these kids are being raised in. Call you nigga on, Xbox Live, and it's different, man. That's all I can say. It was different. Like,
even with simple insults, I remember a whole team of us, because there was one person being unruly. Even in an online setting, it was like, let's get this nigga. We all took turns killing us. We would find him and kill him. Find him and kill him. Find him, kill him. And that person got mad. It was like, why y'all all picking on me? You was talking shit. You had
insults don't even carry the same weight they used to either, man. I remember back when I was little, if you called me a bitch, that was, now bitch is just, bitch. It's just, that's little, Villain in Black, echo chamber is a safe place. I mean, like I said, it all goes, I'm not gonna get into this whole conspiracy theory, but really what it does is they want to raise individuals that are bitches and weak, because if they can have you subservient to the government and they can have you not being confrontational in any way, or even, respond to confrontation with, some sort of gusto, they have you. That's why, instead of addressing shit head on, is, well, tell the teacher, and your kid shouldn't take karate class because, well, my kid can't fight, and your kid shouldn't go to the boxing gym because, well, my kid can't fight. And that's really what it comes down to. That's really what it comes down to. Honestly, they want to raise generation after generation after generation of bitches, kids who are scared, and they get out in the real world and they can't make it, and they think everything is going to be just, they think they're going to be coddled. It's not how it is. It's not how it is. My dad told me, bro, it's funny. All this shit's coming back to me now. It's something my dad told me. I was like, I remember I wanted to drop out of karate class, and I had my green belt, 3 brown stripes. Next, it would have been brown belt, black stripes, and then black belt. And I got tired of it. I just got bored. I didn't want to do it anymore. And you know what he told me? He said, you're going to drop out of this karate class, and when you get to middle school, you're going to meet a kid, he's going to whoop your ass. He told me straight up like that. He told me straight up like that, right? But, kids, like I said, they don't even have that in their thought process anymore. Anybody gonna beat my ass? I'm not gonna get jumped. No, like, you get jumped out here.
Yeah, I know that firsthand. That happened to me for 2 days.
I've never been jumped, and I've never jumped anybody, but it's real. And the thing is, most times when a group of people is jumping somebody, is because none of the individuals can actually fight, right? So
I can attest for that too, because when I got a chance to fight one of the people that was part of the group that jumped me for 2 days straight,
I got his ass whooped.
Actually, he didn't get his ass whooped. It ended up in a tie, but I did the whole hockey technique. I grabbed him by the shirt, pulled, and was just hitting him. I didn't even know how to fight, and I figured that out.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's different now. Now beef is internet beef. Oh, he called me a bitch in my mentions. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. It's just different. It's like you say, in my hood, it was, oh shit, here comes Harold, and there's no text, no warning, no Facebook message, just run. And that's really, I hate to I can't blame this generation, but it's just how they're being raised. They're being raised to be non-confrontational crybabies that can't deal with the real world. Bail me out. Help me. I don't have this. Oh, you take the phone away. Oh, then, yeah, I don't see any point in living anymore. Just because you took the fucking cell phone away. These kids all of a sudden get so weak. And it's not me talking about suicide as a whole, so don't even try that shit. But it's just like, that's what these kids get from the internet is, oh, well, your parents take your phone away and then you get real emo. It's like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
And you know what? That actually brings it back once again. Do you want your kids raised at home or on the streets? Because, even dipping into the whole suicide thing, you have these online people that will influence that it influence either your kids or whatever, that it's okay to do these things when it's never okay to do any of that. And your life is worth it to
You
get
never
over.
could. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead. Go no, go
No,
ahead.
to get over whatever you're going through, because everybody's, I'm like, what, and this is where it seems like the online portion, these influencers, they type, okay, and there's Pooh right there. He's probably been lurking. What's up, Pooh? So, um, where these online influencers, they come in and they entice your kids that this is the answer, when that's never the answer. But at the same time, it's like, what teaches your kid to, like, this is where the parent is the example of going through tough times. Tough times create tough people, but tough times don't last forever.
But you know what though? The issue is, and this is just a whole nother topic,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't believe that anybody's born weak minded. I think that is in your experiences and how you're raised.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I didn't have the parents that I had, I could have ended up being mentally weak, or more specifically, not mentally weak, but I could have felt like maybe my life wasn't worth it. There's a cavalcade of things, but it's all in how you're molded when you're younger, right? So if when you're younger, you're exposed to listening to X, Triple X, Kintat, whatever his name was,
Extension or whatever,
Extension, right? Or
Papa
you're listening
Pill,
to
Molly's and whatnot.
Little Pump, and so the point is, like, you are what you're exposed to. If you're exposed to people who are toughening you up and to say, look, you're not gonna cry over spilled milk, then you will respond to that with some sort of attitude that's like, all right, I'm gonna get through this, right? But if you don't have anybody there that's convincing you you're gonna get through it, or you have no tough upbringing where it's like, all right, like, everything in the past has prepared me to get through this, then you kind of fall into that group of folks who start to feel like that. And then, you have to have people later in their life come and reinforce the fact, hey, look, bro, that's not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, once again, parenting your kids. Period. But people don't believe in that. And, kids go and they get bullied and they get pushed on social media by kids who were never taught not to bully, right? I mean, that's another thing. Bullying these days is so much different than it was back then. You used to poke and prod somebody with a stick you picked up on the side of the road. Now bullying is calling somebody, names on the internet when they shouldn't even have that account in the first place because they're like 10 fucking years old. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. It's not nearly the same. As much as they try to compare it, it's not the same. And it's not kids were tougher back then. No, it's the upbringing. It's the disconnect between parents / authority figures and the kids. That's what it is. Kids aren't born any tougher than they were back then. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. That's why I hate when they say, well, kids are just softies. That they were made that way. They were made that way.
I'm like, kids are brought, like, they're born with no clue of what's going on. Everything is taught, whether it's directly, indirectly, whether it's at home or in the streets, as I pointed out at the very beginning of this whole conversation. Do you want your kids raised at home or by the streets?
Either way, they're going to get raised. If they make it to a certain age, they're going to get raised. Trust and believe. It might be by you. If it's not by you, it's going to be by the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people that spawn the kids into this world would much rather it be by them. So, I mean, he says bullying in the state. I disagree. I disagree. It's hard to disconnect from kids literally poking and prodding you on the way home compared to log off Facebook. Sorry, I'm not buying that.
I think what Pooh's trying to say is the magnitude of it. it's not just that one person or that. I'm like, bullying back in the day, you usually could pinpoint just that one person and maybe a few others, and it wasn't really. It was a smaller aspect of it. On today's social media, it's exponentially a lot going on, because it's not just that one person that's chiding you. There's also people that want to join in, and it's not 4 or 5 people. It's 20, it's 30 that want to dogpile on you on top of that, and
But
you really feel outnumbered. But again, you talk about a disconnect between, the fact that, okay, those are people online, but there's nobody doing that to you in your face and whatnot. And this is where it's like, bullying was a lot worse back then than it is now, based on the fact that
so
you couldn't just disconnect and ignore bullies back in the day. Now you can.
there wasn't a block button. They knew where you lived. They walked the same route home from school. They took the same bus as you. Any number of things. You can't avoid it then, but when you're online, you could avoid it. So that's why I say a lot of that shit could be alleviated. That's why my dad wanted me to learn how to fight. He didn't want me coming home complaining. He said, look, you come home and you complain about a kid bullying you, I'm gonna whoop your ass. I didn't raise you like that. Period. Some people don't like that kind of parenting, but I mean, it didn't raise. I wasn't raised to be a bitch.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I'm like, I know Pooh talks about the example of him being bullied from middle school to high school. And then Neff talks about, so I remember the time I got bullied. It was a span of it was like a span of a few days that this happened. That one day my bully tormented me and whatnot. And I tried to run, and I was basically protecting myself, and I ran away from it. Everybody's laughing and whatever. But then that same person, I'm like, that same person tried me again a couple of days later. Now, I had the same amount of fighting skills then that I did, a few days earlier. But at that point, there was nowhere to go. My friends are surrounding me, but they're not the ones like they're gonna make fun of me. They're the ones that are like, what you gonna do? So I swung, and I had landed every shot, and I did it in a flurry of punches to the point where I overwhelmed him. I don't care the fact that it didn't matter to me where I was. He wasn't going to do this shit to me anymore. I had enough.
but that's
And people reach that point, and it's like you back in the day you could end it right then and there physically. Now it doesn't end. It could be. I'm like, you could block, ignore, mute people online, but it's coming from you from all you can. But people that disconnect between saying that this is not really life versus the people that are physically there, then I see where people feel like they're being put in a corner online in today's age versus back then.
But see, Pooh's saying, I don't know, for that one bully to constantly avoid, let's say blocking or muting just to fuck with you for no reason. I think it's fucked up. I didn't say it was never fucked up. What I said was there is a way for you to disconnect. I'm sorry, a 10-year-old should not be on Facebook. They shouldn't. All my friends, who gives a fuck? You shouldn't be on Facebook. You're 10 years old. What are you talking about on Facebook when you're 10? That's the point I'm making. Like, it's just crazy because, and for the people listening, no, we're not trying to make it seem like we're some badasses. It has nothing to do with that. It's just, like DJ will talk about, like, I guess how quick with words I am. It's because people used to fuck with me when I was younger, and you start to develop those skills. Right. They're playing the dozens, as they used to call it, playing the dozens on you, and you're like, oh shit, I got to come back with something. And when everybody's laughing at you getting roasted and you have no response, that'll teach you to come up with some fucking responses quicker the next time. That's what I'm saying. It's like, It's not crawling into a fetal position and saying, "Oh, well, everybody's making fun of me and I have no sense of humor." It's like, no, it's adjusting to your surroundings and realizing that you can either survive in this situation or perish in this situation. If your back is pushed against the wall, you have to do something. But
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't even see this. I know you probably read it.
Villain in
This
Black.
part,
Oh, okay.
that one.
No, yeah, I already addressed that one.
Yeah, that's what I didn't see at first. I'm trying to like catch every one of them as they pop up,
There you go.
and now we're getting a rash of people, which is good.
Villain in
So-
Black said, "I remember when I ran from a fight, my mom and dad found out. I got it from both my parents, never ran from a fight again." It's all about raising your kids. I'm not saying to raise your kid to be a badass. Raise your kid to protect himself when nobody else is there to protect them. You can't always just depend on an outside source to defend you. It's crazy, bro.
And it's that phone off, CPU off, see no more niggas, delete.
That's it.
Done.
That's it. End of story. There's nothing contributing to your education that you need a fucking Facebook.
Because
you need a Twitter.
Because at the end of the day, when I log off, I carry on. I don't hold my breath until the next time I log online.
Right.
My life doesn't pause when I log off. As soon as I log off, I'm doing real life shit. But right now, it's hiding out due to COVID.
That goes back to parents not believing in teaching their kids how to defend themselves. You don't want to sign them up to a boxing gym. You don't want to teach them some things yourself.
Because they assume that it's the other person's responsibility. It goes back to the whole ninja thing. They assume it's the other person's responsibility not to fight my kid in the first place. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, there's that, but there's that, DJ. But here's the other part that pisses me off even more. Oh, well, what's he going to do? Just start going to school and beating up all the other kids? No! That's where you step in. And you say, this is used for self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go to school and bully people just because you have this ability to throw some punches and slip some punches. If your kid is a good kid, if you raise him to be a good kid, he ain't going to go to school and bully people. But when he's pushed to the point where this bully's fucking with him and he goes and knocks that bully the fuck out, you're going to be proud of that bully because you're going to say, yeah, my kid's not the one getting bullied now. And it'll put all the other kids on notice. This is how we were raised.
You know what that reminds me of? When you acquire a new skill in a video game, all of a sudden you want to use it on everybody. That's basically what people are afraid of. They were like, oh, I know karate. I'm going to just start chopping people left and right. It's like, no, that's not what happened.
When I was a kid and I was learning karate, I never wanted to use it because I still didn't believe that it would actually work, right? But when I started boxing, the shit was scary because, you're sparring and you're fighting in these smokers and you hit somebody with a punch and you see the reaction. And you're like, fuck, if this is bare knuckles and I fought a kid, this would not be pretty because, you're in an elite class. Believe it or not, you're in an elite class if you take any of these, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, not many people are. How many people did you go? I didn't go see anybody today. But no, like you're in an elite class if you go to any type of self-defense training, whether it's boxing, like I said, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're in an elite class because a lot of people are scared, right? And that's the issue is, once again, you'll feel like you're able to defend yourself if you go to one of those classes, especially when you're younger. You're definitely going to feel like, your kid can defend himself because he's learning this. He feels comfortable in it. He's catching on to it. It doesn't mean you have to go outside and automatically use it on somebody. First person I get outside, I'm gonna kick upside the head. Like, no, you tell your kid, no, that's not what it's for.
My father was like, look, in a street fight, there's no rules. There's nothing that says you can't just pick up a stick and start wailing.
My mom My dad believed that. My mom didn't. She still believes his rules. Knock somebody down, let him get up, and all that shit. It's
Nah. If there's a way I could immobilize that person, that's what I was going
my
for.
mom.
Like
My
I
mom
kick him
thinks
in
the
the
fight's
nuts,
like. My mom
knee him and kick him in the elbow. Like I choke him out if I had if the opportunity pops up. I pile drive somebody one time because the opportunity popped up.
my mom thinks the fight's like movies. Let them get up, ask them if they want any more. I'm like, man, I'm about to soccer kick the shit out of you.
And I'm like Bruce Banner now. The way they got him portrayed in the Marvel films, I can control my anger better than.
I mean, it's I haven't been in many fights. Like in my life, I've maybe been in about 10. Like it's not like I was just walking around fighting people, and definitely not in elementary school. A couple. Um, but like I said, I wasn't just walking around fighting people. But at the same time, these are skills that I mean, shit. What if your son grows up and has a wife and she gets disrespected by a guy that goes and slaps her on the ass and walks away? What are you gonna do?
Right.
Oh, well, we're gonna call the authorities. Get the fuck out of here. You're gonna knock that dude out. You're gonna handle him.
You know what's funny? Because I had a situation pop up where like me and my ex were out at miniature golf place, and she had her daughter with her, and it was a situation where the people in front of us were just taking all day or whatever, and we were doing good, making sure. I'm like we were good at what we're doing playing miniature golf, and a situation where um like the first sign of trouble with the guy in the group he had to be like 6'5" or something. He appeared to be like 6'5". I'm 5'10". My ex is like 5'7", and then she has her daughter with her. And what was it? The first sign of trouble was when he looked at her daughter because she had like just on her own just strolled right into their group a little bit because she was done with the hole. All of a sudden he's looking at her with this mean mug, and I was just like, I looked at him and I stepped in front of her and just shielded her and brought her back to where we were. That was the first time, but I didn't let her mom know what was going on because I was just like, okay, I think we're gonna have trouble with this group. So I just kept that in mind. So later, when we went through a whole bunch of holes, we were trying to respect the distance or whatever. Same thing happens again, but now they're holding up. The group in front of us is holding everybody up. Everybody's talking about it, and then all of a sudden, the guy he's like turned into my ex. He starts addressing her, and I'm with her daughter. All of a sudden, I see it. I stepped between the two. Was like, hey, what's going on here? I'm
Right.
like, you're not just gonna talk to her. And we both were like going at him because he looked like he wanted to square up. I was like, look, I'm like, she's my ex, she can handle herself,
Right.
but it was a situation where it's just like, nah, none of us are having this shit with this guy. I'm
Right.
like, there's already a situation, and then the funny thing was, we both knew there was a situation with that whole group that they were just grumpy, they was unhappy because it looked like they was forced to be there. Like they didn't want to be there, but they were making everybody else miserable.
Right.
But that was a situation where it was just like, okay, this dude squared up on my girl. Nah, we're handling this together. And if she can grab his legs, I will go for the knockout blow or
Right.
whatever. We will handle it together, and that was the thing.
Well,
So
some people just don't believe it's like we're in a weird world. Like some people really don't believe that those situations could ever pop up. Like, well, if you handle yourself the way that it's just it's always these people that think that these situations will never arise where there's a legitimate issue. It's not to walk around and be a hothead, but I guarantee you, anybody in the chat right now, anybody listening that's not in the chat, 2 weeks of boxing training will have you more capable to whoop somebody's ass than 90% of people you'll come in contact with. They're not trained. Even 2 weeks will teach you enough to be able to defend yourself.
all right. So Pooh's asking, How much did I invest in Robinhood? Just curious since I'm new to it. I've invested. Well, I'm not gonna say on stream because IRS could be
Obviously,
watching,
right?
but I'll let you know. I'll send you a DM about how much I invested in there. I'm like any financial matters I keep private. I want to deal with
Tandem ass
that.
with DJ and his lady.
Yeah, I'm like she
Shot block him.
that's what was going to happen. I'm like because I'm like she's athletic, and I've seen her. Man, you want to talk about somebody that could she could dress anyone down verbally, and she. It was just one of those things that if you swung on her, it was going to be it. And plus, she's being Mama Bear at that moment in time. I'm
Right.
like, and then, like I said, remember, mind you, I haven't told her this happened. I at that moment, I never told her about what the guy look about the guy looking at her daughter in that way. I told her after the fact. She was like, "I'm glad you didn't tell me." She would have killed that dude.
You said, "What's that blood spot? What the fuck are you talking about?"
Wait, hold up, Bills. What that blood
splatter? What do you?
What?
I don't see anything.
Yeah, don't say why you look.
Shut up, Neff. I mean, bro, look, Pooh said I know that is probably the case because one person I talked to when it comes to Boston, he be training for. Look, man. How do I put this? Okay. It's interesting because when you get into a street fight, there are a couple different ways that somebody's going to approach you. And this is going to lead into a story I'll tell. But, most people you come in contact with are not going to be trained to fight. So they're either going to swing wildly, right? Or they're going to try to grab you and, tackle you, right? But boxing teaches you a certain stance, right? It teaches you, weight transfer with your punches, right? It's different. So that's what I'm saying. It's like a science. So 2 weeks of that, you'll be able to defend yourself. You're not gonna defend yourself against a fucking world-class boxer, but they shouldn't be walking around bullying people either because their hands are registered. They can be, they can go to jail for attempted murder. That's a different story. I boxed, Neff.
Nah, all my fighting I learned hands-on, on the job training type of situation. Let me see. I think, and it's funny because I indirectly know martial arts, and that's from watching all the black belt theaters, Bruce Lee, and all that. I literally did use those moves, and they worked because I used them at the appropriate time, mostly when somebody's back was turned.
Yeah, I boxed until my junior year in high school.
Yeah, I jump kicked somebody one time. that was funny. He went flying into a fence. He rolled off the fence and fell. That was crazy.
You know what the weird thing is? So I'll tell you about the one fight I got into that wasn't in school. I've only been in one fight in my adult life. So me and my friend Cody and sizing a Frow's jacket says, shut the fuck up. So me and my friend Cody, his brother, and my former friend are out at a Hooters. And, we're watching a fight. It's one of these typical Saturday nights. They have the UFC fight on. They show it for free. And, we're just sitting watching. And, there's these guys, how people get alcohol in them. They want to start acting all tough, right? And I'm watching the fight, and this dude keeps I don't like belligerent people, and I don't like obnoxious people. Those are two people I just don't like. So me and Cody are sitting here, and I'm like, bro, like this dude keeps just acting like crazy obnoxious for no reason. It's like fucking annoying as shit. And he's like literally like at the table next to us. So like, he'll do something, he'll be joking around, him and his friends will be horsing around, they'll like bump into our table. So the first time he bumps to the table, I'm like, yo, bro, just like, it's all right. Because, one of the other friends apologized. He didn't. He just looked at us like, oh, what the fuck? Second time happens, he bumps into the table again. I'm like, bro, can you like relax, like sit down or something? Like, what are you doing right now? Fine bitches, bad combo, bar fight winner. It is. So we're gonna get to that.
It's the Wild West.
This is why I'm banned from Hooters and Saugus.
Wow. Wait a minute. Just the one in particular, or all of them?
And Saugus.
Wow.
As far as I know, it might be all of them, but I haven't been to another one.
To the many that are left.
So he's like, what the fuck you talking about? We're all just having a good time. I don't know why you're getting so fucking hot about it. I'm like, okay, whatever, bro. So the next time they're like dicking around, they knock a fucking pitcher of beer, like an entire like big ass fucking glass of beer. Like they brought one of them old school fucking Game of Thrones, just like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, dude, like you're really pushing it right now. Cody wants to beat his ass. Cody's sitting inside of the fucking booth. I'm sitting on the outside. I'm like, look, Cody's about 6 feet 380. I'm not gonna be yeah. He's about like 6 foot 380. Like, if I wanted to stop him, I couldn't stop him. So he spills it, and he's just like, one of them apologizes. They're like, yo, my fault. My friend's a fucking douchebag. He's like, nah, don't apologize. They were being dickheads before. Cody literally is like, bro, nah, fuck that. Right? So he's pushing. He's trying to get me to get up out of the booth. Get up out of the booth, right? Get up out of the booth. And he's pushing, right? Now, Daniel's like, yo, calm down. Like, he didn't want to fight. He's just sitting there watching the fight.
Uh-huh.
When I tell you, this dude tried to pull me out of the booth, and his friends are trying to pull him back and hold him back. He's like pulling me. Cody goes and pushes me all the way out so he can get up. Gets up and hits this dude with a fucking right hand. I'm talking head hitting the fucking table. Boom, out. So now they're like, at first his friends were cool because they're like, yo, he's being a dickhead. But now Cody hit him. Now it's an issue. So one of the friends comes at me. I start fucking ducking. I'm like, boom, come up with a right hand. He's knocked the fuck out. The last friend is looking at us like, oh shit, like what the fuck? I didn't come here to fight. And Daniel is just him and Daniel are basically trying to defuse it from that point. By the time this bitch ass dude wakes up, Cody is like above him, like, bro, I told you to stop fucking with us. If you get up, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out again in front of you and your girl.
Damn.
So now I'm like, look, bro, I only hit one dude. Why am I? What the fuck? Calm down, bro. I can't slow you down at this point. Cops get called. We're all sitting here, and I'm just like, bro, how did we get here? And I'm like replaying it in my head, and then after a while, I'm just like, no, fuck that dude. He started this. So the cops get here, and they just ask basically what happened. And I'm like, look, the dude kept bumping into our table. I told him to chill the fuck out. His friends continued to apologize for him. It got to the point he tried to pull me out of the booth. He pulled me out. Cody got up and knocked him the fuck out. Yeah, that's what happened. They counted as self-defense because the Hooters our waitress, said that they provoked him. And as a result, we didn't get in trouble. But I can never go to Hooters and Saugus again. They took my name down. They took a picture. They put the fucking picture up in the back like they do with every single establishment. Don't let this person in ever again.
So basically, Bills is just banned from Hooters.
And I shouldn't have fought him because I shouldn't have fought him. It's a good thing I never went pro. It's not good for boxers to fight anybody, honestly. Even if you only fought Golden Gloves or smokers, you're not really supposed to fight anybody. But that was the one adult fight I had, which really wasn't a fight. It was more so an assault after they pissed us the fuck off. Cody boxed too. So the point in all this is sometimes you're pushed to the point where you're like, yo, there's no other alternative here. And that was the night. Fights going on. This motherfucker pulls me out of the booth. And like he pulls me out of the booth, and I'm like trying to get my hand free just enough to like knock him. And before I can even do it, Cody just comes with a right hand. Boom! And boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming through, P Hightower. I don't know if you've been watching throughout this whole stream, but this has been a hilarious. It's been hilarious even just as we got into this we're basically running over. I know technically this is supposed to go for an hour, but
y'all still here.
Yeah, y'all still here, which I appreciate it. And we've just been having so much fun. It's like, why not? Just keep it going. I know we went through AEW wrestling, and also I'm trying to keep up with everybody. Good grief. I'm just catching up here.
But like I said, I'm not telling you stories to be a badass. It's just sometimes you're in a position where all you can do is fight. Somebody touches your wife, anything like that. I mean, gotta do what you gotta do, man. I've gotten close, but I have more restraint these days, bro. What is an R&B singer out here fighting?
Bobby Brown? Or Ralph Tresvant?
No, well, Ralph
Tresvant.
He's an asshole in real. He's an asshole in real life.
I think I learned real early, and I haven't been involved in a fight ever since like elementary school. Like I learned that it was not going to be. It was a lose-lose situation. But when those fights happen, I'm like, you gotta be able to defend yourself. Like I said, I wasn't really trained on how to fight. Like I said, my father's marching orders were there are no rules.
Right.
You find a rock, hit somebody over the head with it. You find a stick on the ground, you just knock them upside the head with it. Do what you can to be the last man standing.
In Villain in Black, the other thing is interesting is you said, I'm glad your friend knocked that dude out. The interesting thing about that is the fact that, I'm sure, a lot of people have been in fights before. Those things happen like really quick. It's like, 1 second, everything's calm or not calm, but, tensions are rising. And then the next second, you're getting pulled out of a booth and you're like, oh, survival mode, right? So you click into that. But the most important thing about it is the fact that, like I said, I try to carry myself with as much restraint as possible. Once I get into the mode that I'm going to fight, it is hard to get me out of that mode. But Cody kind of knocked me out of it because, like, dude, he knocked this motherfucker silly. I've sparred Cody before. I wouldn't be jumping to fight Cody. I'll be the first to admit I wouldn't be jumping to fight Cody. But, so you're supposed to reserve yourself for singing, not boxing. Look, man. This is like 5 years back, and that was the only fight. That was the only fight I've had outside of school. I mean, I got in like 5 fights when I was in high school. But like I said, it's just shit that just kind of happens. I was young. I was kind of like act like I wasn't clout chasing. In a way, I was kind of clout chasing, trying to get people off my fucking back, and that's kind of what happens. Singing La.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, look, man. Like I said, I'm not here to brag. I did box. I'm not proud of fighting after the fact I boxed. Because like I said, it's an unfair advantage for a normal everyday person walking down the street because they haven't boxed. And then they get into a fight and somebody knocks them the fuck out that knows the sweet spot on their chin, which is right here for any jawline. Right here is a sweet spot. Anytime you aim for right here. 8 pounds of pressure. They're out like a fucking light. So, I mean...
And you know what? You know what's funny? Because we were talking about a certain quarterback suffering a concussion,
Pat
and
Mahomes.
how I felt like when the dude's arm wrapped around his neck, and I compared it to when MMA fighters would kick a person right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's when the oxygen would cut, and
Right.
all of a sudden they'd be out like a light. And the way he got up was exactly like he was woozy, like he lost all the oxygen and came to too fast.
No,
And
but if you hitting us, like if you hit somebody, I know y'all can see this right here, anywhere, like right here. This hurts.
especially
But
if you're caught with your mouth open.
yeah, but this, this will make your teeth click. This you're not gonna feel shit. You're just gonna go out. That's what that is. That's so that's why I tell people go to a boxing gym. They will teach you how to throw punches. You don't have to leave Muhammad Ali. You just leave as a person who knows how to defend themselves. Period. End of story. Everybody needs to know how to defend themselves in this world. Somebody gonna come and try to rob you. They're gonna try to. There's a number of things.
And it's funny, and specifically for women, you definitely have to learn how to defend yourself. To tell you the truth,
Yeah.
You're not good. Oh, look, just popped up.
Oh.
They're gonna fuck 9 guys at once.
What
Pissed off that
is he listening to? Does he know we?
So did you just check in and you're gonna play a podcast in the background instead of talking? What the fuck is this about? He didn't have his camera on. What are we doing?
He's scrambling to get everything together, because it is funny because this was what I alluded to, because this is where I left the invite. I knew there was a possibility that, and also I don't know if this other person may roll through, but if he does, that would be quite the surprise.
He
Don't
has
say
a
I got a
reputation
question.
to keep up.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah, what's up?
Why y'all not talking about Giga Wing?
Why are we not?
Why are we not talking about
Wait,
Giga
I got a
Wing?
question for you, VF. Where's your camera?
Right.
Why
What'd you say?
Wait, you sound tired. Where's
Where's
your
the
camera?
camera at?
Oh, it's taking a nap.
Oh,
Like you sound like you just woke up out of one.
I say you right. Did he say sodomy? What is going on here?
What the hell? No.
Okay, I'm about to leave. Y'all have a good night. Nah, man, nah.
Just
All
like what Hollywood
seriousness,
Sports said before, that shit gay.
Right.
yeah, nah. All serious, no. I just came through to say hello. I wasn't gonna stay long, man. I see what you're doing over here. I like what you're doing. It's all good. And
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
I'm probably
it.
gonna I'm not gonna plug what I'm about to do, but I'm probably gonna be streaming. So, my 2-year-old ran me to death this evening, so I am a little tired.
Sounds
but
like it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I do want to play a game. So I'm probably gonna play a game, and I'm probably gonna stream some in a little while. So, and I came on here. You were still live, so I just wanted to mess with y'all though. But I'll let y'all get back to what y'all doing.
All right, thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Like I said, I was anticipating it. Oh, there's his camera. Right. Oh,
That motherfucker's on flash.
Flash.
Oh my
So,
god.
and this is actually the first time that all three of us have been. Oh, the fuck is he doing?
He tried to give us a seizure, apparently.
He ain't giving me a seizure. Cause you know what I can do? There we go. Revenge.
Oh, you're an asshole
Now,
for that.
I run the ship.
That's
I
so
know you bring it
fucking
back.
terrible.
Nah,
So-
man, I'm gonna slide out of here, man. Y'all got jokes, but nah, I'm about to do something. So I just wanted to say hello.
Before he leaves, make sure you tune into his stream, and when he streams in a little bit. So definitely, he's been doing some good shit.
I'll probably catch the beginning of it. I gotta go to sleep like around 12. But I'll probably catch the beginning of it.
right. And then also before he goes, let's do a quick plug. Yeah, go ahead.
If y'all don't know already, we do a podcast on my Twitch channel. It's also uploaded to the YouTube channel every Tuesday and Thursday, around 7:45, 8 o'clock. That's myself, Bill's 4th, DJ 81. We talk about sports and sports gaming. We do all the good stuff as far as those things, and we roast each other. And if you come by, you may get roasted too. So
Even if you don't
that's a
come
good
by, you might be
invitation.
roasted.
It's like a great invitation for you guys to come through because it's good to laugh at us, and you can get laughed at as well. Shout out to Pelican Man. I hope you still around. All right,
Yeah,
y'all.
what happened? That motherfucker get COVID or something?
Well, and here's
Hey,
the
don't
thing,
say that because that might be true.
Oh,
You know,
boy. and you know, because we are multi-streaming on YouTube and Twitch, so
yeah. So
he
we go.
does have the potential to be here.
Yeah, we go live on Twitch, and it would be uploaded on YouTube later on as far as the First and Friendliest podcast. So y'all check us out. We'll be live tomorrow, and I'm going to get up out of here, man. I'm not going to waste y'all time. I know y'all had a pretty good conversation going. I just disrupted everything.
Man, we were just chilling, just like
talking
shooting the shit,
Yeah.
basically. Like Neff said, there's no like, censorship condom. That's what he said.
He said something about sodomy, so I'm kind of worried about it.
No, that was food.
Anytime.
Wait a minute.
No. It was Neff. It was Neff. But
Well, I was about to say, I said, I know Pooh still ain't on that bullshit. He's still trying to get rises. He trying to get rises, and he talking about sodomy. I got a problem with it.
Yeah, that was the last thing Pooh said. Talking about, yeah, Pooh, you.
But anytime Pooh says "what the fuck," you know you said some outlandish shit.
Right.
Hold
on, let me catch
All right,
up.
appreciate that, Neff, man. I'll see y'all later, man. See y'all on Thursday.
All right,
Or see y'all later if you decide to come over.
Yeah,
as in tomorrow.
we'll all be here. So, but thank you for stopping by.
All right, y'all. See y'all, man. Y'all be easy, man.
All right, you take care. So
what we talking about? So I remember I knocked that nigga. No, let me stop. I remember I put my feet on his couch. Let me stop.
So let me just catch up with everybody in the chat because a lot that definitely everybody just blew up when VF popped in and we got everybody got their shit in. So
popped up like a fucking fake Gideon Prime.
Give everybody a seizure and whatnot.
Yo. What's
All
up,
right.
yo?
So that's when VF was talking. It said the 2-year-old will do it. Yep. And then who talking about a teaser? And then that's when everybody's like laughing.
Because you kicked his ass out.
I know. About time. I had control this time. All the times he muted my ass and all the times he dropped me from the stream and the times he can get in some slick shit. Nah, not this time. I won't even have to do all that. I'll just drop you from the stream, bring you back when I feel like it.
Who has any fight stories in the comments section?
Yeah,
we went down that rabbit hole.
Anybody got any stories of growing up and becoming tough because of your experiences? Because again, it kind of rallies back to the whole, ninja topic that we kind of just went away from and just went off the rails about how we experienced life, how we grew up, and how we became the people we are now. So free to anybody in the chat.
I could tell a story about a fight I invited somebody to that they didn't.
Oh yeah. That was hilarious.
I'm not gonna get into that.
I was about to say because it was like if you did that, I could be like just catching up on everybody, as they were. Damn, I'm like, where was I at? But like, see, this is what I keep. But this is all about our learning. I'm sitting here, you see everybody. I need to raise. I'm not on the Twitch thing, so I
said, remember when Geno Smith had a broken jaw?
Yeah, I do remember when he had that. Let's see.
P. Hightower said, got to learn defense even before offense. Defense is the first thing they teach you.
Mm-hmm.
How about getting set up to fight somebody?
Neff was like, we heard your intro, nigga. Damn.
Okay, well, let's get to Pooh's. I did at one point. It just so happened I was very, very depressed one day heading into school. I was just sitting in the cafeteria chilling, and one dude just did some shit I didn't like. So what happened?
Okay, I'll get to that.
Did he do some shit you didn't like, and then he beat you? Oh, he's not. Watch my video. I won't say it all here.
Okay. Yeah, was the comment that you was talking about?
Yeah, I did at one point. Just so happened I was very, very depressed one day heading into school. I was just sitting in the cafeteria chilling, and one dude did some shit I didn't like. So what happened? I punched, shoved him into the table. I had to be restrained. I just didn't like.
You had enough? That everyone has a point that they get to, and you just kirk out as they used to say.
P Hightower, somebody tried that shit once in middle school, it didn't work out so well for him. Setting people up. You know, yeah, they like to put the little birdies in your ear and such and such is talking shit, and then
I have a story about a fight that got set up, and basically I was the victim in this one. It looked like I was actually going to win out, but I guess it was set up in a way that it was WWF like, where all of a sudden I got attacked from behind by the person I was walking with.
Yeah, that's
like this chick hit me over the head for lunchbox. And I had to cover up because I was in shock. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was beating the shit out of this kid. And the thing was, it was like the kid got his kicks in. He laughed about it. And, that's the same kid that wound up pile driving because he tried to charge me. And I was able you want to talk about being able to pull off a move on the fly. Like he lowered his head to try to charge me like some wild boar. I just grabbed him, stuck his head between my legs, lifted him up and just used his weight, his whole momentum against him and just dropped him on his head. He wasn't knocked out, but he was stunned. And his brother, and here's the thing, his older brother watched the whole thing unfold. You know what his older brother did? That's what you get with messing with these people.
So P. Hightower, I got a story about the setup. So I remember it was kind of well documented that my father passed away freshman year in school. That would pop up, like, people ask about your background and things like that when you're trying to make friends, and that would just pop up, right? So it was one day that these kids that I was associates with, not really friends, but associates, I'm kicking out heaven. so there was one day that
elementary school, I didn't know what a cooch was. Right. So it wouldn't happen.
So there was one day that I do remember I fought this kid in seventh grade the last year. That's funny. So yeah, there was one day that I was walking to second period, and basically one of my friends told me, "Yo, like this kid said that your father was a bitch when he was alive, and he's glad he's dead." I'm like, "Oh really? Okay." So I found out that he skips class between every second period and fifth period. He just goes and goes to the store, whatever, shoots the shit at Ruggles Station. I go and meet him outside. I'm like, "Yo, what's good? What's this whole you talking shit about my dad?" And he's just like, "Yeah, I said what I said." Bro, when I tell you how I learned that jawline shit, I hit this motherfucker right here. And he fell down the hill of the school that we went to, because before they renovated John D. O'Brien, it used to be a grass hill that would go down. And he just tumbled all the way down there. And then I just leave school and I go to my uncle's house because I'm scared. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get suspended now. Come to school the next day. They're like, you broke his jaw. You're suspended for a week. They call my mom. She's fucking heated as hell. She's like, why are you fighting over your dad? And you've been a real hothead the past few years. And I'm just like, look, I wasn't even mad. I'm just like, yo, like, he said some shit. It pissed me off. I knocked him the fuck out. And he was drinking through a straw for a few months because I hit him right here with all my might. And I keep showing y'all this area right here is nothing to play with. They'll be attacking like this after you hanging. It'll be hanging. So that's where most of my fights in high school stem from. Somebody knowing that my dad passed away and trying to get me riled up, and they would, and it wouldn't work out too well for him.
All right, so we're approaching the 3-hour mark. So
did he apologize? No, he didn't apologize. He transferred like a little bitch to Boston Latin Academy because he's a fuck boy. Wow. And no, he didn't apologize, bitch. Damn. If I see him, I'll fuck him up again.
Like Jim Cornette in this bitch.
That rant with the Lakers before was like Jim Cornette.
Right. So we're approaching 3 hours. It technically was supposed to be an hour, but we had so much fun and so much organic stuff happen. And unfortunately, that one person that I thought that they probably was not available because they do their own thing on Instagram with NBA, ex NBA player. So, but it'd be great to have that person on this show and not just on First and Frame Rates because I'm sure he there's a lot more he can talk about outside of the frame of sports and sports video gaming. So, this probably
tell us about some fight he got into when he's playing high school football. That shit still caught me off guard.
Well,
this motherfucker ain't making these throws like this.
Well, it's funny because they would literally like my friends, if he had his hair the way he has it cut now, they literally consider him a near skinhead because not all skinheads were like shiny bald, but they would call it like the buzz cut or whatever. They would definitely think he was like part of that group. But I figure he's probably been in a bunch of fights. I'm like, look, if you had the potential to play in the NBA, you had to been in some fights at some point in your life. I never heard of an NBA player that's never been any like professional basketball player that's never been potentially close to a fight.
Jealousy,
right? So I'm gonna just catch up on these before we end the show because this has been a blockbuster show to actually multi-stream and then just have shit just happen. That's the name of the show. What the fuck just happened? And you just seen a whole bunch of shit just happen organically. Well, technically part of it I set up, but no one has to know that. But I definitely appreciate everybody stopping by. Bills, definitely thank you for. Oh boy, here we go. Same bat time, same bat channel. Great podcast, nigga. I've actually gotten better at saying nigga and saying it in a way, like a certain way, because there's a certain way you gotta say it.
Yeah.
Like you can't just sound awkward and say it. You gotta be like nigga. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah.
Like people who ain't used to it try
Right.
to say it, and you can tell they're probably low key racist.
But there's probably a amount that I could say between Twitch and YouTube that right now they're in this like big tech censorship type of thing. So you say it too many times, just like
You're probably sitting there right now. That was the 27th nigger.
One more. They did that with Django. They did that with that movie.
They have one more.
Like you said, it's 27 times. That's too much. Like,
they have one more.
I'm like, that's under the amount of times that you would hear it back in that time.
I know they're sitting there right now. 27? Fine. 28? No, that's the line.
Right. I agree.
We can't say it. Shit.
Yeah, be careful. Can't say that on Twitch. If I'm reporting, which I am doing, it is part of my job as a media personality who's reporting on life that I can say whatever I want. I know it's not under, if you're on a platform, it's not considered free speech, but I'm reporting about life. Therefore, it's within my job to say whatever I experienced. So N-word was part of it. So if they want to censor that, they can do whatever. But yeah, because of racism. Well, racism exists. Tell it not to exist. So, I mean, do you want to censor stuff over racism? I'm like, I'm not perpetuating racism. All we're doing is talking about how it plays a part in our lives. I'm like, but it's not intention. That's not the intent of the show. But anyway, that's a whole different ball game. So just getting the last few of these out. But yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to this episode. This has been our lively episode 14, a long episode 14. Normally we go for about an hour. And yeah, it's been fun. So we're about to head out. Again, Bills, I'm going to let you do your outro.
Yeah, once again, you can find me at Official Grand Music on IG. You can also find me at Grand Sports Talk on IG. You can find me at JMBMJ on Twitter. And you can find me at JMBMJ3293 on Twitch. And yeah, it's been fun as always. And until next time.
All right, and then you guys can find me on Twitter. There's my handle there. Because I really don't need to say much for the YouTube audience. If you want to find me on Twitch, there I go there. And for those on Twitch that want to find me on YouTube, I've learned to actually reverse that line, so because it actually makes sense. So, and then once again, just like VF talked about earlier, and I'll close this up. Oh boy, what? Oh boy. It was going back
as an undercover MMA fighter. I might start taking them. I might start taking them Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes. The only issue with that is I feel uncomfortable saying BJJ.
Oh,
so they ask you, "Oh, I was just coming from a BJJ class." Like, sorry, what?
All right, so just like Via pointed out earlier, we also do a sports video gaming podcast called First and Frame Rates. We go live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:45-ish. Yes, you read that correctly. 7:45-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the West Coast, you just got to tune in just after you get off of work or you're stuck in, rush hour, whatever. But we definitely do the same. We do the same type. I would say it's a little bit more toned down than what you experienced tonight. But, we do keep it in the realm of sports and sports video gaming. We may go off a little bit, but that's what we do. So myself, well, actually, do it in this order. VF, Bills, and myself, because I am the third wheel. So I will always admit that, because I was the last person to join when the show first started, because it was these two that started it all.
I wish I saw this when we started the podcast, but I'm going to have to bring it up tomorrow.
Yeah, what was it?
It's no point in bringing it up on there because people are going to want us to talk about it, so I'm not going to bring it up.
Gotcha. All right, so that's that. And again, for those that if you want to... Oh, what's that?
What you just highlighted. I'll start flight school in 2 months. That's great.
Oh,
that's nice.
Okay. Make sure you learn how to fly and land a plane. You don't want to see. The thing is, in the early 2000s, when I was in the military, and that was during the time that they were looking for people that were just learning how to just land, or not just take off. They would literally put you on a watch list. So you got accepted. Cool. Well, congratulations, and and good luck. So you got accepted into academy. So big ups. So wow, that was a lot.
Doug Thomas, have a good night.
Yeah, definitely, Doug. Have a good night.
Neff, have a good night.
I know I'm like catching everybody. Yep.
$107,000.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's a lot of money, but congratulations. Congratulations on getting accepted. So
if I got the bag.
So again, you don't have to. We're scrolling at the bottom. That's if you want to make a donation. It's up to you. We're trying to keep the lights on in this place as far as keeping the stream. So I'm able to multi-stream, and that's my whole intent with the donations is to use it towards that. I don't have any plans to use it for any place else. It makes it easier. Let's just say that, but you don't have to. But I do appreciate it. So once again, we are about out of here. I'm not going to highlight anymore but I would say, actually, no, I am going to highlight this.
Stupid.
Oh, God.
Stupid.
Just being a nigga. That's weird. Buddy. What? Cold work? Nah, we're good. We're good. We're about to be out. We're about to be out. So, again, thank you for joining. Bills, thank you for joining me tonight. And I think we're going to make this more of a common theme. So, and like I said, I was trying to get another person to join in, but probably is busy. Probably have to catch him at a different time. But I'll tell him we're live Wednesday nights. So what else is okay? What's Pooh doing? Okay, to help you on rating VF, just do you know what? I'm a boomer. I'm a boomer. So is he on right now?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, then I would have to take off the quotations. So can I do that off of like just on in the chat by itself? Oh, and thank you, Naf. Thank you, Naf. Let's take off the quotations. So let me. I'm definitely showing my boomerism. When I'm doing stuff for the first time, it's horrible to watch. Well, except when it came to ice skating. That's a different story. I'm just gifted athletically. I did catch the game winning touchdown in the state championship. No one else can say that. So on Twitch, yes, on the chat. Okay, so let me go there. I'm gonna do this thing, and so just bear with me.
I really don't like this article.
Oh boy, swear Bills doesn't like a lot of things.
I'll tell you
especially
after
when
we
they
get
don't
off.
make sense. So
Yeah, I'll tell you after we get off air because I haven't even played this game and I still don't like where this is going.
Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. So I am taking care of some admin so I can help out VF. Okay. God, I'm horrible at this. Okay, let me go here. Okay. So just say /Ray VF. And that's it. Okay, it's done. So hopefully he appreciates the raid, and we are out this bitch. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. There we go. And we're out this bitch. Peace out. Audi 5000.
Peace.